Hello, all my lovelies. How are we doing this evening? Let's see. Opal, wait. You're going to put this prediction up. You're the one with the unpopular opinion. Okay. I mean,
Okay.
if Anthony really wants to be Burke, to be blue, I mean, we can arrange it in time. So, hey, Peterson.
Exactly what he's talking about. Let me grab it.
I don't, so I'm glad you do. Because unless it's about our breakup because of another viewer during a live stream, I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. Just a
So,
sec.
my beast.
I'm gonna send this over to you real quick.
Well, okay. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. Oh, my beasties. Hello, Sod. Hello, all the beasties. So, let's talk this lovely, lovely ocean nightmare because this is the stuff of ocean nightmares. So, let's preface this. I don't know if and when John or people are appearing. I know they had some other things they were doing, but we are going to break this down. So, first and foremost, yes, I am a licensed gun safety instructor. I am an expert marksman. I do all the gun things. I am also a licensed certified safety professional through the Board of Certified Safety Professionals, and I do corporate OSHA. So that makes me qualified. So we'll answer that question first. So, the first thing we're going to cover with this whole debacle is why is OSHA involved and were they involved properly and what happens when something like this happens. So, everybody knows OSHA as a kind of a couple of things. First and foremost, OSHA stands for the Occupational Health and Safety Administration, i.e., the government branch, well, not branch, but the government office, OSHA. You will also hear that people have a degree in OSHA, which is Occupational Health and Safety Administration, much like an MBA is, a Master's of Business Administration. So it can both be an entity and a degree. They're not the same. Very confusing. I know. On top of this, OSHA came about in 1972 officially, when in 1970 the OSH Act was written. And the OSH Act, also referred to as OSHA, was the the Occupational Safety and Health Act by Carter. So before then, it really didn't matter what happened to you on a work site. It wasn't anybody's problem. Now, however, since the OSH Act, it's your employer's problem. So there are several things that happen with OSHA, that being the government entity. And if somebody feels the need to say, but I don't live in an OSHA state, yeah, that's great for you. You're still governed by it. So when the OSHA Act came about, all states were told you have two options. Uh, Anubis, that would be a 10 or a 30, not a 40. I can issue your 10 or your 30, but whatever. Um, so, what happens is you had to be compliant with the federal OSHA standard, but certain states like California decided to have their own. And that's why they're called Cal OSHA, because Cal OSHA, California OSHA. So, there are certain things with OSHA that require an immediate phone call. That being death, a hospital stay that's going to be longer than 24 hours, um, missing body parts, disfiguring injuries to the head, neck, or face, and there are several others. all of those require a phone call to your local OSHA. Do you mean Cal OSHA, Peterson? Like California OSHA? They literally call themselves Cal OSHA, not kosha. Um, I have absolutely no. Wait, what is this? Text
I,
scroll.
s- I, s-
I have no clue.
what?
Whatever. Nothing. Um,
I see what you did there, Peterson.
yeah. So, you know, there are certain OSHA regulations that require an immediate phone call. Those phone calls get you somebody showing up, generally within 24 hours. Now, there's another set of kind of gray zone things that get you a phone call and like you have to present this stuff, and we still reserve the right to show up. And then there are the like, yeah, you screwed up, fill out the report and send it to us. Well, let me tell you. Yeah, Kalosha sound, yeah, like Kenosha, Wisconsin. I got you there, Zulu. So, the first thing I will tell you, when OSHA shows up, the worst thing you can do is say to the OSHA person is no. Look, we are a bunch of petty ass people. I am the like queen of petty if I want to be. Nobody goes into OSHA unless they are petty. If you think I cannot walk into a room and find like 40 technical violations on stupid, I can. We are all extremely petty. So don't bring the petty out in the OSHA people. Don't. Um, you are required to let them inspect. There are some minor technicalities, but the biggest red flag for us as OSHA people when we do investigations is if you're like, nah, what you're not gonna do is inspect. That is the quickest way to get yourself an angry OSHA violation. And I only say this because we are going to pull up the absolutely scathing OSHA report momentarily. And when I say it is absolutely scathing, um, you'll understand. So here we go.
Yes, that's a thing there, Jerry.
Okay. So this is from the State of New Mexico Environmental Department Occupational Health and Safety Bureau. I am not redacting anything because all of these things are public. Please do not go and call these people. They will be quite annoyed. In general, we're not tremendously personable people. So, summary on October 22nd, 2021. By the way, if you have, say, flags rolled, and it will pop it up because I can be part of this. On October 22nd, 2021, the Occupational Health and Safety Bureau, OHSB, a bureau within the New Mexico Environment Department, NMED, initiated an inspection of Rust Productions LLC here and for all known time known as Rust at Bonanza Creek Ranch in Santa Fe County, New Mexico, in response to a workplace fatality that occurred at approximately 1:47 p.m. on October 21st, 2021. The New Mexico Film Office, which is a part of the Economic Development Department (EDD), initially notified OHSB of the incident on the evening of October 21st, 2021. OHSB was notified of a firearm-related incident occurring that injured two employees, with one succumbing to their injuries. OHSB assigned the inspection to Compliance Officer Lorenzo Montoya. The decedent, the person that, aka person that died, was Helena Hutchins, Rust cinematographer. The second injured employee was Joel Souza, Rust director. So we have two problems already that I see. One of which is they were a secondary notification. Whoever the safety officer was on site needed to make the notification. You shouldn't be notifying someone else, right? And then them notifying, essentially, state OSHA. Bad, bad. So here's where we have our other problem. Now, mind you, this is written by a compliance officer. Again, we are petty people. Don't tell us no. We get incredibly annoyed. Bonanza Creek Ranch, located in Santa Fe County, New Mexico, hosts locations utilized by movie and television productions for over 70 years, including an entire Old West town with a saloon, jail, chapel, and other Western staples. The firearm incident occurred within the chapel at the southwestern edge of Old West town. On Friday, October 22nd, 2021, at approximately 12:30, I attempted to inspect the site, Bonanza Creek Ranch. Uh-oh. Danger, Will Robinson. The words attempted should not be in the sentence. When I arrived at the site, the security guards present attempted to contact a representative of Rust by phone to be confirmed I was allowed to be on site. The company representative informed me I would be allowed entry but not be allowed to take pictures or conduct interviews until a warrant was acquired. After being denied the ability to inspect the site by the sheriff's office and the company, I left. Well, here's the problem, guys. That's not really your choice at all. OSHA gets to inspect. The sheriff, unless it's an active crime scene, does not have the ability to say no. You also cannot tell us that we can't take pictures. Yeah, none of it. None of this. OSHA has the right to investigate and take pictures. OSHA also has the right to investigate and speak to everybody on site without management or union representation present by themselves. So if you make us leave and we have to come back with an order, I am smacking you down with every single citation I can find. Yep, yep. And here's how you know they screwed up. On October 24th, following the sheriff's office releasing the site, Rust granted them access without a warrant. Yes, yes, because you're going to be in trouble for that. On Monday, I conducted an opening conference. Okay, so what happens is something happens at your place of work. OSHA shows up. You have an opening conference that has management. And not only does it have management, it generally has representatives of management, representatives, if you have a union, of them, and a couple of the employees. All present. Takes no more than an hour, and then the investigation begins. On the investigation, the only people ought to be there the OSHA person, and if you have a corporate OSHA person, and you can have one representative, you are allowed to take pictures of anything the OSHA person takes pictures of, but you can't tell us we can't take pictures of something. So that's how that goes. On Monday, October 25th, 2021, I conducted the opening conference and walk around of the worksite, including the chapel. In attendance from NMED were Sia Montoya, Compliance Supervisor Melissa Ribeiro, and AG Counsel Mia Napolitano. Again, never good. Had you just shut up and let them do this the first time, you probably wouldn't have had AG Counsel there. Representing Rust was Denise Stevens and Gabriel Pickle, line producer. It's an unfortunate name. Also present was Jessica Hoffman, field representative of IATSE, their union. As a low-budget contract film, not all employees were union members. However, all employees were covered by a collective bargaining agreement with IATSE. Following the walk-around on October 25th, 2021, OHSB held the first closing conference outside the chapel. I informed Rust representatives the OHSB would be follow-up to schedule interviews. So what happens is they do their walkthrough, they take their pictures, they determine if there's going to be a need for like a write-up and for a more in-depth investigation, they let you know, and they let you know if they're coming back. Squirrel, hold this down for 1 second. I've got to grab a drink real quick.
Okay then. So when Loki gets back, I have a question. Are they paid to be personable? I have to know. I have questions. No, really, folks. OSHA, the OSHA people, you do not mess with them. They can have you completely shut down in minutes if they really have a problem with that. Jerry, I have no idea how many squirrels are in that nest, but it's probably far too many. Especially if you've got baby squirrels around, because those can get really annoying in a hurry if you don't if they don't if they don't go nut if they're not how they call that, well herded. There you go. They have no bedside manner. Well, they're not doctors. I wouldn't. They're not physicians. I wouldn't expect them to necessarily have bedside manner. But
we have no chill. We don't care. Yeah, no.
You're not paid to be personable, are you?
No.
Or at least not enough to be personable.
No. I tell everybody I'm the OSHA asshole.
Okay.
I am the OSHA asshole. Like, the only person hated more than OSHA generally is HR. And most of the time, people dislike OSHA more. It's literally my job to go around and find how you're screwing up and what you're doing wrong.
Then there's the flip side of that. HR's entire purpose and existence is to make sure the company doesn't get sued. They don't give a shit about you. Oh no, Infernal Review it does not get nearly the hate that OSHA does. I've seen some workplaces such.
No, even internal affairs of police, they dislike me more. So on March 18th, I conducted.
Talking about the IRS.
Yeah, everyone's still whole position. So on March 18th, I conducted a second closer conference with Ryan Smith, first legal representative from Pillsbury Law. That's unfortunate. Including Derek Mayer. Yeah, we're not going with these names. I don't care. During the discussion, I explained the citation related to safety practices on the use of firearms may be issued and that the abatement for such a citation would require an effective firearm safety program, which could include implementing and building upon the industry-wide Labor Management Safety Committee, Safety Bulletin Number 1, Recommendations for Safety with Firearms and Use of Blank Ammunition. So, we talked about this last night briefly on John's stream when he asked me to pop in. This bulletin exists. The problem is it's a may and must issue, right? As you heard, it's recommendations. You're supposed to do this. Not you have to. But generally do it. Generally. And anytime OSHA comes in and anytime we find an issue, you have a certain number of days to abate the issue before major citations. But here's where the interesting stuff starts. The findings. The firearm involved in the accident is a modern replica of a Colt .45 caliber revolver, long Colt in style. Rust had 13 revolvers for production in total from manufacturers Piet, Uberti, and Cimarron. In films, firearms are typically controlled by props department with the individual responsible for handling the firearms and ammunition titled armor or weapons handler. The armorer for this film was Hannah Gutierrez Reed, and her immediate supervisor was Sarah Zachary. Props master or property master Nicole Montoya, props assistant, provided support to Zachary and Gutierrez Reed. The rest props department was small, and for administrative purposes was placed under the art department, headed by Brian Norville, who provided support for props but rarely worked with Zachary or Gutierrez Reed. Danger, Will Robinson. Ryan Smith, producer, was identified as overseeing overall production. A management representative for Roast was Gabriel Pickle, line producer, who directly hired individuals and crews approved hours worked, and had authority to counsel or discipline employees in any department. Her immediate subordinate was Catherine Rowe Walters, unit production manager, who shared similar authority. Also on the management team was Dave Hall's first AD and safety coordinator. Who was the set manager responsible for general workplace safety, and who was peer in authority to Gabrielle Pickle and Roe Walters. Well, what do we get from this, everybody? Well, what we get from this is technically Hannah Gutierrez Reed. Technically, this dude is in charge over Gutierrez Reed. He's the safety director. She answers to him technically. Oops. You probably don't want to be that person. Alec Baldwin, actor and producer, Joel Souza, director, negotiated with various producers to help create, fund, and arrest project. His authority on the set included approving script changes and actor candidates. Baldwin handled the revolver and fired the round that struck and injured Helena Hutchins and Joel Souza. Should be separated out that it killed her, but okay, whatever, that's just nitpicky. Hannah Gutierrez Reed reported to Sarah Zachary for direction on daily tasks. Sarah Zachary reported to Brian Norvell. Brian Norvell reported to Roe Walters, and Roe Walters reported to Gabrielle Pickle. Oy. Due to the nature of positions of soul armor, she regularly corresponded with Gabrielle Pickle directly via text messages and emails. Hannah Gutierrez Reed performed armor duties such as demonstrating firearm was cold or hot with Dave Halls. Dave Halls was also responsible for identifying and correcting hazardous conditions related to firearm safety. He is the AD, correct? I think he is the one that settled. He's the one that settled already and pled.
He's the one that pled to a misdemeanor.
So here's where we can see why he would have pled. Because unfortunately, he actually is more responsible than the armorer. He is the overall safety bottom line. That's why he pled. Yes, what he has information-wise is going to be paramount to the others. But the big thing is going to be, ultimately, the buck stops with you as safety director. So he'd have been ultimately responsible. So he sold out the armorer. As an armorer, Hannah Gutierrez Reed was responsible for storage, maintenance, and handling of firearms and ammunition on set, and for training members of the cast to be handling firearms. In accordance with rest safety procedures and industry-related safety practice, the armorer is required to be present whenever firearms are being handled. Should have the authority to determine whether an individual requires additional safety training. However, Rust also required Hannah Gutierrez Reed to perform the role of props assistant to Sarah Zachary when firearms were not in active use. In an email conversation that occurred on October 10th, Gabrielle Pickle informed Gutierrez Reed that she was allowed 8 paid days of the armorer's rate in her contract to perform armor tasks, and the rest of her time was to be spent as a props assistant. Danger, Will Robinson. Things you don't want to put in emails. So let's see. Do we have any questions, Tech? Is there anything I need to address? Let's see.
No, we got a nice crack here from Opal though. I'm not seeing currently questions, but at the same time, this is a thing that came out in one of the lawsuits that was associated with this thing.
Yeah.
She was told that day that she wasn't allowed to take hours for. She was only allowed a couple of hours for armor, and then she had to stay away from the guns.
Well, they can't choose to stay away from the guns. I think they just said, you need to, do our other stuff.
Well, at the
kind
same
of
time,
thing.
she prepped the guns in the morning, and then had to walk away from the firearms cart. Just left it there.
Right, and you're not really allowed to do that.
No, you're not.
They
Nobody
need to
with
be
a
locked.
brain does that.
Okay, this is an Alec Baldwin production. Enough said. So here's where we start getting into problems. Rust ordered ammunition with the intent to receive blank and dummy rounds from PDQ Arm and Prop, located in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The property master stated that Rust did not intend to have live rounds on set. Live rounds may be distinguishable from dummy rounds, either by a small hole in the brass cartridge, indicating there is no powder, by a missing or dimpled primer at the bottom of the cartridge, or by shaking around and hearing the distinct clatter of a BB within. Unless a round is removed from a storage box or firearm and expected, it can't be verified as a dummy round. So no, you can't just pick up the whole box and shake it and be like, "Up, yep, they all are." On October 14th, Gabriel Pickle emailed Hannah, addressing armor and key assistant props duty, stating, "It's been brought to my attention you're focusing far more on armor and not supporting props as needed." In the same email, she informed Ms. Gutierrez Reed that production and AD have seen twice that there was a shotgun left unattended after a scene. Ms. Pickle went on to say that she needed some type of check-in and out system put in place immediately. Ms. Gutierrez Reed responded to the email the same day saying that the armor job was a very serious job, and since we've started, I've had a lot of days where my job should only be to focus on the guns and everyone's safety. Ms. Gutierrez Reed later in the same email stated, "There are working guns on set every day, and those are ultimately going to be a priority. When they are not, that's when dangerous mistakes can happen." And so here's where you're going to see the problems. You have her doing two things. And in this email, you're bitching at her that she's spending too much time with guns. And then on the other hand, be like, "Well, I saw this was unattended." Right, you did, but you
Does that
can't.
shotgun work? That's the question.
It's
If
not
it's
even
not
does it
working,
work. It doesn't matter. The point is, you can't complain someone's spending too much time with the guns, bad, but then not enough time with them, right? On October 16th, there were two firearms misfires on the Rust set. Nope, they're not misfires, they're negligence, but okay. In the first instance, Sarah Zachary inadvertently fired a blank round as she finished loading a .45 caliber revolver that was aimed at the ground. To return the hammer to the closed position and make the firearm safe, the operator must hold the hammer to press the trigger, guiding the hammer to the closed position deliberately. In the case of the first misfire, the hammer slipped from her thumb or fingers, likely resulting in the firing pin on the hammer striking the primer, igniting the powder, firing the blank round. Okay, great. You're an idiot. Second misfire on October 16th involved Blake. I'm not even going to try to say that last name. Stunt double for
Texiera.
Alec Baldwin. I don't care. I'm not that dumb. Stunt double for Alec Baldwin and a lever action rifle of unknown make and model. It's not known how the misfire happened, as according to some statements, he was alone in the cabin, and the others state he was not alone. Hannah Gutierrez Reed stated that his only comment was, "It just went off." She described it as probable the rifle fired by being placed onto the ground too roughly. Okay,
Not
great.
unless somebody screwed with the trigger.
No, depending on the lever action, whatever. But that's already showing us problems. On October 20th, 2021, Lane Looper, first assistant camera, resigned, citing safety concerns. Oh, wait, hold on, I missed one. Let's see. On October 17th, Hannah Gutierrez Reed sent a text message to Gabriel Pickle stating, "Hey, we're on day 8 of Armor Days. If there's gunfire after this, you want to talk to the producers?" Miss Pickle replied the same day, "There's no more trading days." Miss Gutierrez Reed then asked to clarify training days, and she said, like training Alec and such. Okay, well, you've said she's used her 8 armor days, so then should be no more guns. On October On the 20th, Lane Looper, first assistant camera, resigned, citing safety concerns. Among other issues, and stated in an email to Roy Walters during the filming, gunfights on this job, things are often placed very fast and loose. So far, there have been 2 accidental weapons discharges and 1 accidental SFS explosive that have gone off around the crew between takes. To be clear, there are no safety meetings these days. There have been no explanations to what is expected for these shots. Uh-oh. Danger.
That's not good.
Danger, Will Robinson. On October 21st, 2021, Dave Halls handed the, I don't even know why they wrote it that way, 0.45 caliber Colt revolver loaded with what he assumed were dummy rounds to Alec Baldwin. Mr. Baldwin aimed the revolver toward Elena Hutchins and Joel Souza, and a projectile was fired, striking Miss Hutchins and Mr. Souza. Uh-oh. As a result of the inspection, OHSB determined that Russ was responsible for a serious violation of New Mexico's OSHA. While no specific state or federal OSHA standard exists for firearms used in the film industry, it's clear that both the employer and the film industry recognize the hazard associated with the use of firearms on movie sets and the potential for serious injury to employees. Further, Russ demonstrated plain indifference to the safety of employees by ignoring recognized hazards inherent to the use of firearms and ammunition by failing to take appropriate corrective investigative actions after 2 firearms-related incidents misfires occurred. And after employees notified management they didn't feel safe without weapons or being handled on set, they failed to follow company safety procedures which likely would have prevented the accident. Rest management did not ensure their own safety procedures taken from film industry safety bulletins issued by the industry-wide Labor Management Safety Committee were followed at the worksite. According to general safety practices documented provided by Russ, the following safety bulletins were taken into consideration. Their attorneys informed EdMed safety bulletins used were recommendations for safety with firearms and blank ammunitions. And essentially, bulletin number 1, page 1, property master armor will work in conjunction with production design safety representative to assure the following standards are adhered to. Let's guess. Failure to implement the standards listed in the bulletin were not enforced by rest managers and or supervisors, including, but not limited to, Sarah Zachary, property master, and Dave Hall, safety coordinator. Live ammunition never to be used nor brought onto any studio lot. Failure to implement. They didn't develop a process to ensure live rounds were not brought onto the set, including failing to afford the armorer time to thoroughly inventory it. Bullet number 1, page 1, before any use of a firearm in a rehearsal and or on-camera sequence or off-camera use, all persons involved must be thoroughly briefed at an on-site safety meeting where firearms will be used. The meeting shall include an on-site walkthrough and or dry-run with the property master, designated production representative, and anyone that will be using and or handling a firearm. Failure to implement. Employees stated while safety meetings took place, they were not conducted each day firearms were used, and any mention about firearms is brief and not specific. Okay. Do we all see where the big problem was?
Yep.
Y'all are screwed. Yeah, Patty, she was way too thin in her job duties, but it's not even that. Here's the problem. She's not the bottom line. Everybody's saying, like, oh, but that armorer after serving should be banned. No, the armorer said, like, hey, we need to have safety meetings. And the people that she is reporting to are like, nah, fam, we don't have enough time for that.
You make the time. You
right,
really do.
So you can't have a safety manager. Like, this is why all of us OSHA people are considered assholes. Because we walk around and we're like, nope, can't do anything else. Nope. Here's the problem.
She did not hand him the weapon. She gave it to Dave Halls, and Dave Halls handed it to her. Handed it to Baldwin.
Right, but not just that. She is not your final. She is answering to a safety person. So
a
the
safety
one that
person
fled
that's
out,
a misdemeanor.
Right. It's a dumpster fire. We weren't having our safety meetings. Here we go. No one shall be issued a firearm until he or she is trained in safe handling, safe use of the safety lock, and proper firing procedures. If there are any questions as to the competency of the person who can use the firearm, the property master or ... shall determine if additional training is required, ensuring that a sufficient amount of time has been allotted for training rehearsal. Failure to implement. Gabrielle Pickle instructed Hannah Gutierrez Reed on October 17th. There are no more training days, like for training Alec and such. Rust Management did not provide the armor or property master with the authority to determine if additional training was required in violation of their safety procedure. Don't violate your own procedure. Gets very expensive. Bulletin number 1, page 1. Additionally, this bulletin shall be attached to the call sheet each day firearms are used. Failure to implement. Look, here's the thing. If I write you up for OSHA and in my report, my response to everything I cite is failure to implement. Just start adding zeros to that check. Failure to implement. During IHSB's interview of Dave Hollis, he referred to the safety bulletins between the unions, between SAG and IATSE, or what we call, safety memos. They describe protocols. When asked if safety memos were always attached to the call sheets, he said, no, they're not on our call sheets. There we go. Good job.
What?
You keep incriminating yourself, buddy. Bulletin 1, page 2. Never lay down a firearm or leave it unattended unless actively filming or rehearsing. They should all be safely secured. Failure to implement. After instructing Hannah Gutierrez Reed to focus more on her props duties and less on armor responsibilities, Gabrielle Pickle then informed Hannah Gutierrez Reed that production and AT team have seen twice there was a shotgun left unattended after a scene. We need all weapons to be in your control anytime they are used. Hannah Gutierrez Reed explained conducting her armorer's duties and props assistant duties create a gap where an actor or stuntman put down a firearm and step away, leaving it unattended. She informed Gabrielle that it would slow production and terribly if we have to check them back in between scenes. And when I'm forced to do both, that's when the mistakes get made, like the shotgun being left unattended. Gabrielle Pickle instructed her to develop a check and check out system for weapons, but didn't follow up to ensure weapons are secured and ignored Hannah's concerns about not being provided adequate time for her armorer's duties. Uh-oh. Bulletin 1, page 2. Refrain from pointing a firearm at anyone. If it is absolutely necessary to do so on camera, consult the property master or armorer or other safety representative, such as the first AD stage manager. Remember that any object at which you could point a firearm could be destroyed. Up at my favorite line's coming up. Failure to implement. Rain Looper stated many camera shots had firearms pointed and firing at the camera. Atlanta Hutchins and Joel Souza were injured when a firearm was pointed in their direction, with Hutchins' injury resulting in death. Rough Management Representative Dave Halls was present prior to and at the time the firearm discharged a live round. As Rust's top-level management safety official, Mr. Halls did not consult with Master Armor after the firearm was loaded, handed to the actor, and pointed toward the crew members in order to determine pointing the firearm was absolutely necessary. Uh-oh. Bulletin 1, page 2.
Yup.
Firearms are to be loaded just before they're used in a scene. Failure to implement. Again. On the day they were shot, firearm was loaded and handed to Alec Baldwin during an informal rehearsal and prior to filming the scene involving the firearm. Rust did not provide staff.
Apparently, Baldwin had been watching things in the church at that time, or in the chapel there, and he had the weapon on him the entire time.
Yep. Rust did not provide staff.
Who knows what happened there?
Okay, let me finish. Russ didn't
Okay.
provide staff responsible for ensuring firearm safety with sufficient time to inspect ammunition received to ensure that no live rounds were present. The first misfire, which occurred on October 16, 2021, presented a hazardous Sarah Zachary and any employees nearby. Rust failed to address the hazardous condition, reinforced adherence with their own protocols. Rust management, including Gabriel Pickle and Ro Walters, ignored concerns of firearm misfires on set. According to statements taken by OHSB, Dave Halls, the safety coordinator, was present on the set when the first accidental discharge occurred. Mr. Halls did not discuss the incident with staff, report the incident to the producers, review the incident as the safety coordinator, ensure Sarah Zachary took appropriate actions with respect to safety protocols, or take other corrective measures. According to employees interviewed, including Hannah Gutierrez Reed, crew members verbally expressed their surprise and discomfort with Rust management's lack of action regarding the worksite safety issue. We're almost there, guys. Rust initiated no investigative action for the second firearm misfire on October 16th beyond Hannah Gutierrez Reed asking him how it happened. Dave Hall was present during the incident and did not speak with either Hannah Gutierrez Reed or Blake Texiera, whatever. Lane Lipper, first assistant camera, texted Ro Walters informing her, "We've now had 3 accidental discharge. This is super unsafe." The third discharge involved a special effects popper, which is a small explosive that simulates a bullet impact on a surface. Walters responded, "Accidental discharge on a firearm." Looper responded, "Yes, 2 discharges today and 1 on week 1." Walters did not ask any additional questions to try to understand what had occurred. Despite being informed of the misfires and that at least one employee expressed not feeling safe, Rust management took no corrective actions. Danger. Let's see. Okay, well, this just says, they did nothing. They didn't mitigate it. There was no closing conference. And here's the problem. Ryan Smith, producer, also stated during closing conference, all members of cast crew have stopped work authority. Despite this, no corrective investigative or disciplinary action was taken after the first and second firearms misfires by any member of management. So, let's see. Ongoing lack, saying there were no armor days. They didn't investigate. Here's the fun one. The recommendations, right? Based on the above findings, I recommend a willful serious citation with penalties be issued to Rust Movie Productions LLC, citing plain indifference to recognized hazards. So, we're going to stop this for a second. Let's go back to here. The armor needed to walk. Oh, yeah. The armor needed to walk in this job. I'm not going to use that as a point to condemn her, but as a suggest for other on what to do. What?
A suggestion for others on what to do.
Okay, well, here's the problem. She was young. Her dad is she got the job because her father's considered one of the premier armors in the cinema world. So, because everyone's like, well, how did somebody with so little, right? But the reality of this is Hannah Gutierrez Reed was reporting to your safety manager. Your safety manager was your assistant director who has already pled out. He is more guilty than she is technically. She, in multiple emails, has now shown that she was like, hey, I can't do all the things you want me to do. And if you want me to do these things, I need more days or time. And then being like, yeah, too bad, so sad. No. Alec Baldwin's being Alec Baldwin. I mean, I don't know what else you can really say about that, walking around with the gun. We've all seen his interviews. Just went off. The reality of this is the FBI broke it down, as did the lovely Ian Runkle. And you actually had to break the gun in order to make it misfire in the way he's claiming it did. So, Baldwin refused training for him. Baldwin didn't check it himself. Yep, this is a dumpster fire. Once it is the armorer's responsibility. But after, Anthony did 8 armorer days, and then it was like, hey, you have other stuff to do. Anubis, it's the armorer's responsibility. Yep, well, it was when it was her responsibility. Then it left, left someone else's hands, and someone else was doing what they were doing. Dumpster fire. Yes, Opal, dumpster fire. Who knows if the guy who handed it to Baldwin did anything. Anthony, you're right there. And here's the problem. They let the guy plead, right? The guy that took the gun from Hannah Gutierrez Reed and gave it to Baldwin is technically the safety management. He is above her. As they laid it out, he is the safety director. So he shouldn't have been allowed to plead. Baldwin didn't check it out. That's on him. Yes, it is. SAG safety bulletin is very Rainman and where I see. SAG's bulletin is very clear, as is OSHA's. Anybody has the ability. Okay, and we tell people this all the time on OSHA sites. If you don't feel safe, anybody has the ability to stop work. That is an underlying fundamental point of OSHA. If you are at work and you don't feel safe, any person on any job site has the authority to say stop. So, Armor needed to walk. She needed to walk off. She did. The AD is the safety director, according to this. So letting him plead and trying to pin things on her, not a great thing, right? And anyone with getting him the final safety inspector. Like I said on John's show last night, even at the 15-degree angle that they are alleging, and I've seen the drawings, you are looking it would be negligible that you could see how far back he has it cocked. So him saying, well, I was pointing it, and I would say to Helena, look good cocked this much? Oh, just a little bit more, just a little bit more. Nobody can see. It would have looked the same. You can really only tell the difference from 90 degrees. So,
was part of their contract, I'm pretty sure.
Well, Anthony, they all should. There is always the right to stop working. I don't know where you work, Mr. Anthony Burke. Hold on. I will get... Okay, put it back. Squirrel.
Yes. Just a minute.
No.
Okay.
Employers, when you're hired and you get your hire on safety thing from your safety person, they have to tell you that. If they don't tell you that, you can ask them about it. If they still don't just close that, you can ask them to look at the OSHA regulation. There's always the ability for a stop work. Always. And if they're not, there's this nifty thing that there's a phone number you can call from OSHA anonymously and get the whistleblower statute enacted.
Ooh.
And I can tell you it's like a $15,000 fine minimum. I've written
Yikes.
$15,000 fines to companies because the employees were never told that they had the right to stop an unsafe working environment. If you are in an unsafe working environment, OSHA Loki coming out right here. The OSHA Loki says, tell your safety person if your safety person ignores you or you don't feel that they are doing anything correctly or about it, then you notify your OSHA office. AD took the gun from the cart. Armor wasn't present. Yep. Well, the AD had every right to take the gun from that cart because according to how the breakdown is, he was the safety person above the armorer. I mean, in reality, did he know what he was doing? No. But on paper, he has himself listed as. Yep. So, like I said, any safety concern, it is a stop. It is a hard stop. My ex. This is a story on why safety needs to be strongly enforced. Yep. Safety always needs to be strongly enforced. I had an employee drop a 600-pound metal box on his head because
Ouch.
he thought he was strong. He thought he was strong enough to hold it. He didn't take into account gravity. That was a long discussion had there. There was a long discussion had that day. I was not a happy person.
I'm going to assume that he did not survive that.
He did.
Oh. So not a Darwin Award.
No, well, I'll get to him in a minute.
Okay.
What is Anthony, who we apparently need to wrench Anthony at some point. Any retail company worked for was never told anything except we have to clean up the inspectors from OSHA were coming on this date. Yep.
This is why you don't warn them, Mr. OSHA.
Yeah, I don't tell people I'm coming to inspect them. Generally, like, people will see me. They'll be like, great. It's kind of hard. It's hard to hide me. I stand out, especially on a construction site. So, oops. You know. Call somebody if you're in the union. And Anubis is right. Yeah. You call somebody. But here's the thing, okay? This is Loki, your, YouTube Loki. I don't give legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. If you are having an issue or there's a safety issue or you are unsure, I cannot give you specific advice, but I can give you phone numbers or I can direct you to the right people. Okay? I can at least direct you to the people you need to talk to. Let's see. I was asked to help a crane operator walking to the site. I saw the guy crash the hook on the roof. Told him to find someone else. Me and John. Yup. So that sounds like the OSHA and I'll tell. Okay. Wait, no, wait, bad. Remind me, Squirrel, to tell the story about the flower and the lighter.
Okay, then I will do that. All right, Anthony needs to say something else.
Hold on. We have flowcharts for work refusal. Yep. Son, let's see. At the lab, someone to. Yep. Stop. You can't punish somebody for that. You can't. There are OSHA protections against this. I think he was talking about this. Mention union and retail and you lose your job. Depends what kind of retail. Mention OSHA in a lot of places. and you lose something.
Yes,
Is
Anthony,
it?
you. And now I've seen what I need to. Thank you very much.
Um. Yeah, Anubis. Yeah, yeah. You don't. Mm-mm. Okay, so the flower thing. So one of Loki's jobs at one point was working for a company who processed lots and lots of dry goods, i.e., flour, sugar, for a famous pretzel company that you find at the mall. All the stuff is made off site and then it is taken to all the chain stores, right? Great. So, what people don't realize is, oh, sorry, hiccups. Flour is combustible.
Yes.
Yeah, so combustible dust issues. So, we had combustible dust vacuums and all of this stuff. So, I gave the entire safety speech to the new employees, and these two boys looked at me. And you all obviously can see on my avatar of what I look like, and most of you have seen me on video. And they told me I was wrong because every girl who belongs in the kitchen should know it couldn't, because then how would you cook with it? Now flammable and combustible are different things.
Yes.
But okay.
Boom.
I just stared at them like I'm not sure. And they kept telling me that I was a stupid girl. And this is why we leave safety job to men. We are leaving the
Eh?
safety job to the men. Because I am the stupid girl who knows nothing. And about that point, I went, look, you make like $13.25 an hour. I make north of, $200,000 a year. I'm fairly certain my degrees tell me I know more than you. But if you are that convinced that because I'm a girl, I don't know what I'm, whatever. And I left. What? Because, like, I went to my office. Whatever. I get a phone call. Guys, you're going to love this one. Yeah, sod. Just look up grain silo explosions. Things go boom.
Oh yeah. Oops.
So
Any kind
I'm
of open
like,
flame near a powder that's running around in the air. Oh yeah.
so I'm like, okay, whatever. I go to my office. I get a phone call from HR. Hey, Loki, what's up? Can you look out the window and tell me what the employees are doing? Probably not. And why is this my job? Well, they're the ones that just took your class, and we're not really sure what they're doing. Uh-huh. Sure. Guys, I'm not joking. These idiots had a 5-pound bag of flour and a lighter and were sitting in the freaking parking lot trying to light it on fire. They are literally sitting there with a 5-pound bag of flour and a big lighter.
Well, at
I
least they
walked out.
didn't take that lighter indoors.
I'm like, what are we doing? See, we're showing you. it doesn't catch on fire, and this is why you can put it in. I'm like, no. Flammable and combustible, not the same thing. Combustible has to do with the amount in the air. Flammable has to do with the. Okay, great. Guys, just like look it up on your phone. Hey, Becky. So they look it up and then they're like, oh. Yeah, I'm like, okay, so now let's get a broom and dustpan and the 5-pound bag of flour that we've set on fire and sweep this up and let's go.
And
Okay.
another quadrant has been heard from.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, like, guys, no. These were the same two Einstein candidates who got on rolly chairs and were caught on the overnight shift using fire extinguishers to propel their wheelie chair races.
They were fired for this, yes?
Yeah.
I hope so.
I was like, what are you doing? I got a phone call that was like, hey, we have 2 fire extinguishers that were discharged. Uh-huh. Why? Just pull up the security. Great. I'll get them recharged. Someone go do something with those 2. This is why. No. 18-year-old boy. No. Oh my God.
See, I knew better than that at 18. Of course, I'm not an idiot.
They had great
Well, not
wheelie chair races. One of them did fall down the stairs on the wheelie chair. Mean John? Yeah, no, they definitely were not related to Einstein. Westwick coal mine, methane gas. Yeah, yeah, combustible dust is no fun. Yeah, recharging fire extinguishers is inexpensive. Mean John. But yeah, I literally just stood there. I was like watching this on camera. I'm like, you argued with me that I was stupid because you cook with flour. And yet you'd had 2 fire extinguishers and you fell down the stairs on a wheelie chair using the fire extinguishers to
I have a
propel
question.
yourselves. Yeah.
Did that guy's parents have any children that lived?
You both lived. I don't think the gene pool in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania is particularly deep.
Obviously.
It's like,
There's at least some depth in there, but not that
no,
far.
they're like Amish and then these people.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Anubis. So, here's a funny thing. You think that's fine? I had to land a helicopter at a Boy Scout camporee thingy because they threw bamboo into the campfire. Bamboo plus campfire. You get an
Not
explosion
good.
with shrapnel. Mm-hmm.
Wow. The stupid. It burns.
And this is why I yeah, no. Nope, I'm good. They're like, Loki, do you want to work another camper? No. No, the fact that I had to land helicopters and say, we don't throw bamboo in the campfire.
Well, they probably were assuming, oh, well, it's wooden, it'll burn. Except that bamboo doesn't work like that.
No, they Googled it. They knew what it would do. But this is what happens when you have a room full of 13-year-old boys.
I'm sorry. At 13, we listened to our adults. There were
No, you don't.
rules. And we got our asses kicked if we didn't. If the
One of our
scoutmaster didn't
neighbors.
do it, our parents would the second we got home.
Yeah, Anthony, I used to work many. I've flown into many calls for people that, lighter fluid, gasoline, campfires, and they flash it. No, not green bamboo. Nope. Nope. The dry stuff that essentially becomes shrapnel. Peterson, we all know that I got in trouble for making thermite, so it's not really a secret. There's an entire school rule because of me. Because my argument was no, you can't expel me or suspend me. There is no school rule against incendiary devices. It says I can't make an explosive. I can't. None of these things say incendiary. So now there's a school rule in our school district that you can't make incendiary devices because I set a chemistry room on fire. Yep. I used to get suspended with everyone would after pranks would happen. We would all get called down to the office. I'm like, why am I coming down? And they're like, because none of these ones are smart enough to figure out how to do it on their own. So I know that you put them up to it. Rude.
You even had your dad's permission to do that one.
I did have parental permission. Didn't want to, but yeah, they tell you how and they can teach you how, but then letting you make large quantities of it and setting a classroom on fire still gets you in trouble. How many kids when you were young used to hold bottle rockets? Yeah, not many because the state of Pennsylvania actually just made fireworks legal in the past 5 years. You couldn't even buy them in neighboring states and bring them back. So, I mean, not that it stopped people. So let's come back to Rust for a minute here. Let's come back to the stupid, because there's slightly more stupid of this. I knew a guy who called him Stumpy. Yeah. Well,
Oh dear.
So this is what happens after we have shown up, right? You get this in the mail. This is not a letter you want. This says that this must be posted within 3 days, and it must be posted while things have been until things have been abated. Okay? And for 3 days. Then there's an informal conference that's not required at the request of the employer, affected employees or representatives, or a designee. Then you can hold one. Essentially, you can contest this penalty and payment. Here's how you pay us. Here's the corrective action. Here's how you do it. And then what you have to do is you have to post this I was a bad person notice. Right? And so then you have there are kinds of citations. There's de minimis, which means we're going to smack you on the hand and you're not really getting in trouble. There's minor, there's major, and then they can be unwilling or willing, and serious or non serious. Things that are willful and serious are bad. Right? So this is the employer did not furnish employment in a place of employment which are free from recognized hazards, blah, blah, blah. There you go. Let's check penalty on that one, guys. Any comments from the chat? Who's got that?
I'm guessing
Did you see
This
it?
is good. I'm guessing this is going to be north of $1 million.
Here's the penalty. It's right there. Bottom
I
corner.
don't see it.
That's for one count. $136,793
I
for
can't read it.
one of the violations.
Just one.
Yeah, page 3 of 7. There we go.
Oh,
Here's
dear.
another violation. Doesn't have a. They got nailed because they didn't have a fire extinguisher. Whatever. Hold on. What is this one? Yeah, again, fire extinguishers. The last fire extinguisher had an expiration of 2017. Oh God,
Oh,
it's just a little bit out of date, boys.
tiny touch, yeah. Like 4 years?
So no. So radiosphere. No, it is $137,000 fine because they didn't provide a safe working environment. That is for one of the failure counts. How many of those counts did I read? A lot.
Yes.
They have the ability to apply that $136,000 fine to each one of those counts.
Yikes.
It is up to them. It says 0 is the fine next to the fire extinguisher because if you fix it within 3 days, we don't
There's
fine
nothing
you
to do.
for it. There's no point. But the last time their fire extinguisher was checked was in 2000 was in like 2017, which is insane because you have to check them every month. We're talking about the rust set. Yes, we are. You've seen bigger. Yeah, there's a lot bigger, and there's going to be a lot more fines. This is just for the single count of an unsafe work environment. That was not the penalty for any of the other counts I read.
Like
And
gun go bang.
yeah. Well,
Oh,
here's the funny thing, and I brought this up on John's stream last night. Baldwin's father is a firearms instructor.
on top of that, how many movies has Baldwin done with guns?
Yeah, he claims he never checks them. No big stars like him ever do, and George Clooney and everyone else were like, "Yeah, we check every gun." No, the wheelie chair extinguisher races that just cost people their job. It's about $275 to recharge those.
Maybe
Fire
they should have docked those guys' pay.
I just fired them. You tried to light 5 pounds of flour on fire, and then the next day you had a wheelie chair race with a fire extinguisher. I don't have the time or the mental ability to deal with you. So then you go away. Yeah,
Oh,
his
you actually had
dad
the authority
is.
to fire these people. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, his dad is a firearms instructor. His dad is a high school pistol and rifle instructor. So, Baldwin knows. So for all of this BS that he's like all over, I didn't know, dude. You did.
I trusted the AD. Don't do
You
that.
know more about guns than you want. Yeah, Radius Fear. No, mine. I just fire them. I'm like, look. The amount of stupid in this room, there's not enough coffee for me to put up with. So, where OSHA violations lie, right? And let's.
But that is a question.
With that specific gun, do you have to physically pull the trigger? Yes, Becky, you do. The only way, and I know everybody likes to say, but the FBI said they were able to get it to fire by just pulling the hammer back and letting it go. Yep, you have to read the line above it where it says that they physically had to break the gun to do it. After physically damaging the firearm, they were able to fan it, which is what it's called, and pull the hammer back and let it go without pulling the trigger and get it to go off. But yes, you physically need to pull the trigger on those guns. What he is doing, unless you have physically manipulated the firearm or broken it, you will not set the round off. So, no, it's not the magic gun that went off by itself. So yes, he pulled the trigger. In the military, they tell you to keep your booger hook off the bang switch, and that's
Those were the
pretty
days.
accurate.
Those were indeed the days.
Yes, as did the lovely Ian Runkle of the Bailey. You cannot do it unless you break it. It doesn't do it. So, many YouTubers have tested the theory, right? But here's where we're going to all. This is where the Loki differs. Okay, well, we've looked at the OSHA issues and found that. Hey, Arno. Oh, wait, we got John. John's late to the party.
Hey there,
Just
that is, apparently is part of my brand now.
That's okay. Did you hold on? We'll come back to Anthony in a second. Did you catch the $137,000 OSHA fine for this?
Oh my god, no, I did not.
Here, I'll pull this up real quick for you. It was 100. We went through the OSHA inspection already.
I was going to ask you, what level of DEF CON are we on this?
I just laugh at everybody level of DEF CON at this point. Yep, there you go. Proposed penalty. Willful series. $137,000.
Oh my god.
But
that's not good.
I wonder the calculus for that.
That's actually not that bad. So hold on. We're gonna pull this
what was the budget of the film?
$7 million.
I don't know. Not enough.
$7 million.
All right, so
hold on.
I mean, let me figure out my math properly.
You're a lawyer. I thought you don't math.
Yeah, I usually don't. But what is that? That's like 2% of the entire production budget of the film.
I
don't know. I might be off by a decimal point. That's entirely possible.
How about hit your Windows key and press R.
Yeah.
Then typing calc. CALC and hit enter.
You can do that too.
I could, but I've got a dog in the middle of my chest.
All right, give me 1 second.
Yeah, Brandon Herrera has done it, as has Runkle of the Bailey. But when's John ever not late? I don't know. Wasn't my day to babysit him.
Hey, in fairness, I was about half an hour early for most of the trial streams last week.
Whatever. Okay. Do you see in the private chat? Did you click the link?
Yep.
There's your OSHA summary, right?
All right.
Okay. What I would like to direct you to, sir.
Yes.
Well, A, is them attempting to tell OSHA you can't come take pictures without a warrant, and OSHA being like, okay, we'll come back and screw you over.
I mean,
okay,
that'll do it.
Don't tell OSHA no. You're going to piss them off. But where is this?
I mean, if you want OSHA to start requisitioning additional resources to investigate this, that's a good way to do that.
Like, that's what I said. I told everybody, I said, we are the queen and king of petty over here at OSHA, okay? What you don't do is yell at OSHA. We're the assholes.
Yeah, that's
Our
usually a
entire
bad
job
idea.
is petty. Literally, our entire job is petty.
Mhm.
Here we go. I would like to direct you to. Is this which number?
And actually, I can
here,
give you an
9.
interesting anecdote on OSHA at some point. But yeah, go ahead.
9.
Which one? Okay.
Go look at 9.
Ryan Smith identifies overseeing the production management.
So this is the one that pled.
Okay. Shared similar authority also
David Hall.
was David Hall. Okay. All right.
Do you see the problem?
That no single person actually had authority on the set?
He's the safety director.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's that.
So the person above Hannah Gutierrez Reed, who she has to go to for anything, and who in every one of her complaints, when you read this, is like, yeah, they told me I had 8 days of this. And everyone's like, well, he's the guy that gave the gun to Rust. I mean, to Baldwin.
Baldwin.
How did he know that it wasn't? Well, he's the safety director.
I wonder if that might be why he pled so
Yeah, I said that's why he pled right there. Right there is why he pled. Because some lawyer looked at this and went, sir,
you know, you might have a problem here.
any plausible deniability that you came up with in any one of these stories that you have told where you've been like, she was the armorer, she just said that she could like do this and that like I could handle this and like just hand this to him and it would be fine. Sir, any sense of plausible deniability you had, you just set on fire with the statement you're the safety director.
if I were representing the armorer, I might try to bring that in, and I'm wondering if the OSHA report can come in or not.
It can. I think OSHA reports can always come in.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, because I've had to go testify to them.
Okay.
I've had to go to quite a few.
Well, I mean, that actually seems like a halfway decent argument for the armorer, not necessarily Baldwin, given just the chain of events.
Yeah. I mean, if you go look all the way up to the top, I mean, they put in their OSHA findings that they have an email from the armorer saying, like, he needs more training. They were like, you were told you have 8 days. You've used it. Tough shit. No more training.
Yeah, that's a helpful fact for the armorer. Yeah.
The OSHA report looks great for the armorer when you start reading this. Guys,
it doesn't save Baldwin at all.
No, but I don't care about him. I was laughing.
Well, it won't hurt. That won't hurt Baldwin much. However, it really doesn't help him very much either.
And John's like scrolling through this, looking through this, going, none of this is good.
Through this right now, and the reason why it is not helpful for Baldwin and potentially damaging is who hired David Hall.
He did,
or was ultimately responsible for the hiring.
He is.
Baldwin.
He is.
I am told that I have been told that Baldwin had a producer credit, but wasn't actually involved in the decisions.
Yep. Well, in that OSHA report, he reports otherwise.
Yeah.
That OSHA report, he says otherwise.
Isn't that in? I mean, that's literally Paragraph 10, Alec Baldwin, actor and producer, negotiated with various producers to help create and fund the Rust project. His authority on the set included approving script changes and actor candidates. Handled the revolver and fired the round that struck and injured Miss Hutchins and Joel Souza. I mean, it doesn't necessarily say that he had authority to hire crew members. It's not that explicit, but we're pretty darn close.
Right. And then you look at 9 and it says Dave Halls, the dude that pled, who was the assistant director safety coordinator, who was the set manager and responsible for general workplace safety.
Right.
Sir, that's why you pled. Because your lawyer went, oh no.
We got a problem here.
Guys?
What you're not going to do.
Well, but then you have this thing where it says like in 11, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed performed armor duties, demonstrating that firearms are cold or hot with Dave Halls. Dave Halls was responsible for identifying and correcting hazardous conditions related to firearm safety. Uh-oh. Danger, Will Robinson.
Well, but that's the thing is that's why I don't really care about Dave Halls so much anymore. He pled out because he is guilty of sin.
Right, but it at least gives Hannah Gutierrez-Reed to go, no.
Fair.
I took this
you can't
to him.
Scapegoat. No, and that is the argument, is that he's basically scapegoating her.
Right, and she's here saying, and OSHA's here saying, she took the things, and here are the emails.
Right. I mean...
And here is the proof where they're like, no, you don't get more safety days. No, you can't have a safety meeting.
I mean, good. This is helpful for Anna, obviously, but like I said, I don't know how it moves the needle as it relates to Baldwin. And Dave Hall already pled out, so beyond concluding.
Yes, but he pled out to a cheap misdemeanor, more or less a ticket.
Right. But I mean, my point to some of this, to some, is there are so many that are like, this is all her. This is all this girl. This girl had no business. Well, no.
Well, and you know that I never was particularly of that opinion, but that's a very good point. There are people that, have been covering it in such a way where they're trying. But I think part of, at least when it comes in what I've seen from media coverage, is they're trying to find somebody other than Baldwin to point the finger at. Hall's no longer an effective target, and she's not pleading guilty because she can point the finger at Hall, and it's not a terrible defense.
At least her defense attorney's like, score, I have something to work with.
Right.
Yeah.
Her defense attorney's like, even OSHA said you screwed up.
Yep.
And last time I checked, Hall, I mean, and obviously I'm not the lawyer, so you can tell me, but Hall cannot, he's not immune from having the finger pointed at him just because he pled out.
No, he's not.
It's not like she... Right, but that's not the problem. She doesn't care if he's going to be prosecuted. If that's her defense, it doesn't prevent her from using it as the defense.
Of course. I mean, I don't like reading the tea leaves this early on because, again, we just really got to the charging stage. But
yeah, but I'm saying in general.
I would be fascinated to know what sort of testimony Hall is going to give that justified him being let off the hook in this, because he really got a slap on the wrist on this one. So I wonder what his testimony is going to be in this.
He probably turned over a ton of information.
That's what I'm wondering.
And he's got a better lawyer than she does money-wise.
Well, the other side, I don't know if he's going to be if he's going to be ripping open Hannah or Baldwin. My thinking is they got his testimony for Baldwin. That's what my brain. I find it much more likely they're going to use him to tear Baldwin a new ass and get him into a prison cell for about 6.5 years.
Well, that's what I'm sort of wondering, because look, from a practical perspective, I think Hannah's really not the target at this. She just doesn't have a lawyer that decided to take a deal. But more importantly, I mean, Dave Hall, who knows? Maybe there are logs, safety meeting logs with forged signatures where he can testify that Baldwin never showed up, or who knows what. I mean, that would be damning.
Here's the thing: they said that there weren't safety meetings, and OSHA cited them that you have to have your safety brief stapled to the call sheet every day that there's a gun. On scene. They didn't do it ever. No one had ever seen one. They didn't hold safety meetings. OSHA nailed down every aspect of y'all screwed up.
Yeah. Look, there's no two ways about it. I mean, I'm just, like I said, I think Baldwin is the target at the end of the day. I think Hannah is kind of, small potatoes, and they probably would offer her a deal if she could say that Baldwin was directing a bleep storm of a production.
She probably will. She has a countersuit going. She has a separate lawsuit going that is a train wreck.
Yeah, she threw Prop House under the bus with that one. The people that were actually making the dummy ammo.
Yeah. I've heard about that. I'm not intimately familiar with exactly.
I'll find it, John, and you and I can break it down. Essentially, the issue is the chick that she's answering to, the props master above Hannah, is sleeping with the guy that runs the prop house.
Oh, that's not great.
Oh.
And there's
it's
a
innuendo. It doesn't prove anything, but it doesn't sound good.
No. And he and Hannah used to have something involved. There's a love triangle, and they're trying to get her off the set. There are some very interesting text messages that essentially insinuate they want Hannah to fuck up enough that she gets fired and run out of the business. They don't have to deal with her.
I mean, at this stage of the game, those are just allegations. But if true, that is a whole other.
There's a whole. I'll find that lawsuit, and you and I can break it down.
Yeah, definitely.
It is a great lawsuit. I was reading it, going, "Oh my god, what?" Because
I hadn't seen the specifics of the complaint. I knew that there was something going on there, but I did not know about the throuple.
Oh yes, there was a throuple. Along with the throuple is that the prop house guy mysteriously and magically showed up on set the day of the shooting with a new box of bullets.
Oh.
And that is believed to be where the live rounds appeared from.
Well, that's the thing, is like, I was talking with my buddy, and he, does production work, and he was like, why was there ever live ammunition on the set at all?
The Hannah Gutierrez Reed lawsuit alleges that he brought the live ammunition that morning, and that was the only day he's been on the set.
That's a problem. That's not good.
No, none of this. I just watched this going, oh my god, dumpster full of garbage water on fire going to be hit by a train. That's what this is.
Yes.
Well, and to be honest, it's all allegations and shade, and Hannah's lawyer was pretty good about the whole shade thing. She was good.
Hold on.
Like I said, it is still just a complaint. These are just allegations. But if there is a scintilla of truth to this, that is a real problem.
Okay, folks. There are 20-odd people in here right now. Can we get some likes, some comments, and maybe some subscribes? Definitely subscribe. Hit the little bell, please. All the YouTube-y things.
And by the way, Loki, just for your kind of programming information. Yes. Probably like maybe 11:15 or so. I'm probably gonna have to run because I still have to run the Jensen trial tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to be done shortly after this. So hold on.
I just didn't want to leave you hanging.
No, you're good. Hold on one second.
No, that lawsuit's going to be a whole stream in and of itself. I'm telling you.
Yeah, you and I will have to do that one together because, like, I'm gonna fall over laughing at your reaction to some of it.
I genuinely can't imagine that ever gets to trial.
Yeah, well, it took Emily D. Baker, like 3 hours to put it down.
Oh, yeah, well. She accuses PDQ Armin Proppen, the founder, of violation of trade practice, false deceptive product labeling, false material misrepresentations. Oh, yeah.
There's a PDF of this somewhere, I think.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to see, I got the CNN article. I'm wondering if we have the actual complaint out there
you
somewhere.
You can pull the actual complaint. That's why I just sent you that. Because it tells you what court it's filed in.
Let's see if I can pull it.
Because I want a copy. I want a copy of that.
Second Judicial District, Brunello County. All right, let's see if I can.
There's a whole lot of, oh my God, what are you all doing? Rainman YYC asks, John, if someone was setting up the armor up for fireable mistakes, does it move things from negligent to reckless? And what implication would that have? It would make them a party to it.
Yeah, they would just be an independent defendant. I mean, the whole idea of why they charged all three of them is because they were charging everybody that handled the weapon. But if they could prove that, this guy was involved in providing live ammunition into a set under the guise that it wasn't in order to get somebody fired, I mean, we're getting really, really close to almost like, certainly I would say that that's reckless. I'm starting to wonder if that fact pattern is true, and I'm not saying that it is, we are getting really close to second-degree murder under the depraved heart rule. And I don't know how New Mexico handles depraved heart, but in a general premise, we are really close to showing such disregard for human life that we might as well call it second-degree murder. I mean, We're getting really close at that point, if those facts are true. And I don't know that they are.
Felony murder is just kind of a weird thing.
Huh?
It's defined very differently almost everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, felony murder, that might be, that you could hit them on that one potentially. It's not really, I feel like felony murder has been in recent years misused significantly. But yeah, that could probably fall under felony murder. Because again, is the providing of the ammunition in and of itself a felony?
Yeah, because you technically can't introduce it onto a site.
I don't know. I would have to see what law they're calling the initial felony. Just so,
You'd run into the problem that you're introducing live ammunition onto a site where there's supposed to be no live ammunition.
What law does that violate?
There's a 4th degree. There's a New Mexico specific.
Yeah, but it's mishandling of a firearm. I don't think that it included mishandling of ammunition.
I would think that the two would be associated.
It was under their negligence statute.
Okay. And is that negligent? But that...
It would still be a felony charge.
Yeah, there's a way that you could cobble that together as felony murder. I'm saying that you can go even that step further where it's just blatant disregard for human life.
But yeah,
you could argue under either theory, the statutory or the common law,
But yeah.
But here's the issue: is that you'd have to prove the underlying facts first, and I mean, the felony homicide would be the easier charge to prove because you need a certain degree of, intentionality and moral culpability in the depraved heart sense. But, you could go, I would attack it from both ways. And honestly, I would, for a sensationalistic depending upon how you want to present your case, the depraved heart thing, I think, has more of a,
John's going to theater
tagline with jurors, but
John's going to theater class over here.
Yeah.
All you really got to do is find a way to put some teeth in it.
Right.
Oh, Did you find the actual complaint?
Unfortunately, give me 1 second. I was talking instead of reading. I will look while you speak amongst yourself, and I'll see if I can find it. And if not, I will send it to you if you want to do a follow-up.
Yeah, I'll find it, and we'll dig it up and look it up. All I gotta say is, you could get yourself a good trial lawyer who's got some theatrics behind himself. If you start with, it's a throuple that involves trying to get someone fired and ends in someone dead that's not remotely attached.
That's not good.
That just sounds like a bad Lifetime movie.
Right, because it is. But then, in all fairness, has there ever been a good Lifetime movie?
I don't know, but
I have questions.
I'd be up there cracking up. It was like I'm reading the OSHA complaint, and it's like, yeah, they said you can't come out here. Try me. You can't cite me for wanna bet. Becky, I'm working on it.
So far, hang on. Read. There are days in my life where I genuinely miss New York's e-court system. It's so much easier to search.
Ardo, I think for optics and ease of prosecution, they go Baldwin. Yes, do the likey and the subscribey and the YouTubey things. Ardo, she actually does not deserve to be prosecuted. When we've broken a lot of this down, Ardo, she is responsible to a degree, but as we've broken the OSHA complaint and everything down, there is a safety director above her. There are emails that show her saying there's more safety training that needs to be done, and them saying, no, you had your 8 days. That's it, you're done.
I mean, there is something.
You need to be spending more time doing this other thing.
There is something to be said that she didn't blow the whistle. If those were the circumstances under which she was expected to work, I think you do have some obligation to report something.
OSHA nailed them on it. OSHA said that there is the stop work provision. Anybody at any point has the ability to stop work. And,
And yet the camera crew and people actually had to abandon the site completely in order to get their point across. If I had been Hannah when I got those emails, I'd have fucked off.
Yeah.
Well, the only reason I think she didn't just fuck off is because her dad is one of the most well-known in that job field.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, that doesn't cut it for me. The whole idea is, if you realize that this is such a bleep show and you are in some way responsible for handling potentially lethal weapons, maybe if your dad is such a well-known expert in the field, call him up and say, hey, this is what's going on here. What do you think I should do? And what do you think his advice probably would have been?
Well, Thomas, there is no OSHA rep on site. It was reported to OSHA as anything with a fatality is, and they slapped them with a $137,000 fine on 1 out of 11 counts. Yeah, Alec Baldwin did stop work. I'm sure we could have found a more efficient way to do it, but
I mean, it would have been helpful if that occurred prior to somebody being dead.
There is no OSHA rep anywhere.
No.
You have to call us. Coming from a farmer's point of view, yeah, we can be a nightmare. We're the OSHA assholes. Nobody ever wants to see us. We are petty. That is our job.
Well, I was going to say that I was going to give this quick anecdote, if you have a second. Sure. Is a company manufactures heavy equipment. A worker is doing something stupid, basically uses rubber bands to override a safety mechanism, ends up dying. The company, in my opinion, basically does the right thing, pays the family in a private settlement civilly, sets up college funds for the 2 kids of the worker, even though the worker was the idiot that was bypassing the safety mechanism, and then spends about 4 times that fighting OSHA for the next 2 years.
Well, there's 2 problems there. We always, with OSHA, say that the problem is with OSHA is you have to take them as they come. Right? And you see that in some states with insurance liability and workers' comp.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's their own stupidity that caused the injury, the employer's still at fault. Under OSHA.
The employer ultimately was exonerated. It just cost a fortune in 2 years.
Right, but I'm just saying, we essentially say, as OSHA, you're still at fault when they do something stupid. You're still getting fined. You're going to spend a ton of money trying to get out of it.
Well, I mean, take the example of I don't know if you're familiar with New York has the Scaffold Act, where you could show up to work hammer drunk, and if you have any elevated related injury on the work site, then it is strict liability for the employer for civil purposes. And I will tell you, I actually worked on a case where somebody was swinging a sledgehammer over their head, trying to bring down a brick facade of a building as part of demolition. And you know what? They were successful. The brick facade hit them. They tripped over a ladder that they had left behind where they were standing, and they tried to claim that under the Scaffold Act. And I actually had to defend and prove that that was not considered an elevation-related injury. Otherwise, we lose automatically.
Okay, here's the thing. I was talking about my employee and those 600 pounds of metal on their head. Look, I had an idiot employee that we had a metal box welded to the exterior of a trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And it was welded to 3x3 box metal,
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the problem. Genius 1 and 2 decide they're going to cut the welds at the top and that it's going to hinge down on the bottom, right?
That seems like a poor decision.
No.
In their mind,
that doesn't work.
I'm not exactly a physicist, but that doesn't work in my mind.
In their mind, they cut the top 2 welds. The bottom, it'll hinge on the bolts, and they can use their hands and walk it down. Now, I would like to point out, I'd like to point out to these geniuses, which I did, that generally bolts need to be parallel.
Mm-hmm.
If you want things to hinge. If they're going in perpendicularly, things don't hinge. Okay, that doesn't work. That only parallel, not perpendicular. perpendicular is just going to rip through sheet metal. But
that's
okay, so they cut the top ones, and when it doesn't start coming down like nicely hinging, one of my geniuses gets up on a ladder and takes a sledgehammer and tries to break it free because he thinks that maybe it's just stuck to the box welding and just starts going to town. So then the lag bolts that are going through the sheet metal start ripping through the sheet metal because the idiot on the ladder is going to town with a sledgehammer, and my man is standing underneath trying to walk this 600 and something pound metal box down with his hands because he somehow thinks he is going to be able to walk this down, and then realizes that gravity plus 600 pounds
is a thing.
It doesn't work, and cracks himself on the top of the hard hat. Now, yeah, and is out cold. Now, luckily, two of the gentlemen.
What was that line again from that cool dude talking about asteroids? Gravity, freaking gravity. Have you ever heard of fucking gravity?
Yeah, pretty
gravity.
Much. So they essentially got him up enough to drag him out, and he had compression fractures and a C-spine, like a spinal cord injury from mid-chest down.
Ow!
You had 600 pounds dropped on the top of your head.
That's not good.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Unfortunately, what's really bad for him is it happened in the state of Louisiana, which has a $175,000 maximum cap on workers' comp. Doesn't matter if you're permanently disabled. That's what you max it out as.
Yeah, but even in New York, there are ways sort of around that, depending upon.
Not in Louisiana.
Okay, maybe not Louisiana, but yeah, Louisiana. I forget Napoleonic law. Because a lot of times we'll represent. So what'll happen is because of workers' comp in New York, you cannot sue your direct employer. So what you do is you sue the general contractor, and then the general contractor will turn around and sue the employer. And sometimes I get handed the bag with the actual employer.
Yeah, nope. Louisiana, you max that one out.
Okay.
And I was just like, sir, what made this seem like a good idea? And they're asking, but did I tell you about my idiot with the flower?
No, I don't know if you have.
Okay, so at one of my first jobs, I was working for a company, and one of the things I did was they bag the dry goods for a very famous northeastern, you find them in malls, pretzel company.
Okay.
And said pretzel company takes it, and you know, we are Radiosphere, we are on topic, don't worry. And they mix it and they make pretzels, right? And I explained to them the combustible dust thing.
Okay.
Flour is highly combustible.
It is.
Yes. Look at grain silo explosions. And they don't believe me, and they tell me because I'm a girl, I'm stupid.
Oh, good.
And HR then calls me afterward to ask me.
That sounds like the redneck saying, "Hold my beer."
Yeah, pretty much. HR's like, "Can you tell me what the idiots are doing in the parking lot?" And they're out there with a 5-pound bag of flour and a lighter, trying to prove me wrong. And I'm like, flammable and combustible are two separate things, guys.
Oh, God.
These are the same two that used a fire extinguisher to make their wheelie chair races go better, and then got fired.
I don't know why, but that reminds me of a case that I was involved with where we were defending a property owner when a woman decided to try and take her mobility scooter up a down escalator.
Yeah, that
did not go well.
That's when we had the discussion about my lady that had the hit and run scootering at the nursing home. because someone cheated at bingo.
Yeah.
And
Supposedly.
they ran them down with the scooter. Well, everybody watched them running the lady with the walker down with the scooter.
Yeah, there are moments where I think that for the sake of humanity, we should just take the warning labels off of everything and see what happens.
Yeah. That'll send the team pool out to a great degree.
No. I've had people that say to me, why does OSHA issue this rule?
Because somebody did it.
Because if there's
because somebody's
rule,
actually done that. You know, it's like McDonald's with the coffee cup that's marked hot.
No, that case is totally different. If you actually look at the facts of that case, that water was superheated, the machine was out of order, and she actually ended up with serious injuries. So I know like people like making fun of that particular case, but that one really was kind of screwed up. And McDonald's did have liability there, in my opinion.
I would like to point out that curling irons.
And let's go with
no. The fact that curling irons say not for internal use.
Well, that's it.
That is
okay.
all I'm going to point out. Okay.
Or the little desiccant package you find in various things says "do not eat."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, a bag of jerky's got a desiccant pack in it. It says right on it, "Caution: do not eat."
Yeah, silica gel packets. But no, so here's the thing, you know, we look at all of these recent gun issues, and I think there's one underlying thing, John, that has come up in my mind to them. And you can tell me your opinion on this, right? You look at the Rust shooting, we look at all of these gun things in the news, and none of them, they all come back to it's somebody else's fault. They all come back to, well, we don't have any accountability for the basic gun safety and gun handling. Why did, you know, like you look at these negligent shootings with kids, you look at these school shootings where a 6-year-old had access to. And I think the biggest flaw to all of these recent gun issues has been the fact that the current political and social climate has made teaching basic safety such a no-no that it has pushed the needle.
That I look, I think you know that I'm going to agree with you on that. I thought you were going somewhere a little bit differently. But yeah, I think
you can't even talk about it.
Yeah, and I think that is part of the problem. I think that is the idea, is that, you know, we teach children that don't touch the stove because it's hot. Knives are sharp. You know, I mean, like I still am very much of the opinion that, look, a firearm is still just a tool. It does not do anything in and of itself if you're not operating it, you know? And I think for whatever reason, this particular mechanism has, at least in the zeitgeist right now, become so I don't know, it's almost it's polarizing. And I think that just like anything else, if you hand a kid a lawnmower, even a push mower, and you don't tell them how it works and what it's for, they're going to find a way to hurt themselves. I mean, it's just human nature. And I think that taking guns out of the culture does make it more difficult to taking it out of the culture and making it stigmatized to teach what they actually are. They don't kill people in and of itself, you know?
Yeah. And I think that's been a big flaw in all of these gun issues. Why did the 6-year-old do this? Why did this person do this with a gun? Why would, okay, let's break it down. Because you've never told them.
Right.
About safety, because it's just guns are bad. End of discussion. Just like, the as
Like,
horrible as it sounds,
this way. I've fired guns plenty of times. I've never shot anyone. Like,
right. But the inability and the fact that we're so willing to politicize something and then call it a public health issue.
That's deeply stupid. But then again, we're saying that, incandescent light bulbs are a public health issue these days. That's just a buzzword at this point in my mind.
Yeah, stick fork in it out.
On top of that, that's crazy talk, because we used incandescent light bulbs for frickin' ever, and it's only been in the last 3 or 4 years that particular idea has come about. All you have to know is don't touch the frickin' light bulb while it's on. Give it a minute.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. I mean, everybody keeps asking me. They're like, "Well, why are we seeing so much
right.
more gun violence?" We're not.
We're seeing
hearing about it more.
You're hearing about it more, and you're seeing more of it because less parents or less adults are willing to say, "Don't touch."
Right.
We don't do that. This is not a Nerf gun.
Even if it is, treat it like it's a standard issue firearm.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that there's no gun safety, and that just even talking about gun safety gets you, in school districts, like, "Oh, you're done." You can't teach it.
It gets you demonetized on YouTube.
Woohoo!
Me and John, they're actually specifically referring to actual incandescent light bulbs. Halon bulbs are a completely different issue, but it's all the same physics.
Halon fire suppression systems are a pain in the ass.
That too. But halon lamps just operate hotter than your average incandescent light bulb, and you can burn the shit out of yourself on an incandescent light bulb if it's on, especially if it's been running for a while.
Don't.
So, I mean, basic concept. Don't touch hot things. I'm fairly certain if I had a pistol and I left it on my desk and walked away, left my apartment, went on a month's vacation, it wouldn't shoot anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we'd see it out on the porch on the news in its rocking chair. Just,
Instead of Florida man, you just call it Florida gun.
Yeah, okay.
Florida gun's just chilling over there.
Hey, Nubis. Yeah, that could easily lead to a degloving incident, right, Loki?
I hate you. Vacuum cleaner. It was a pool suction.
She told me that story in some detail. I have to keep reminding her.
It was a pool suction, and it involved a whole lot of concrete getting broken that day.
All right, I don't need the explicit on that one.
If only there was
if there might be a national organization that taught and promoted gun safety, that would be lovely, Thomas. Absolutely. You know, it would be even better if it wasn't registered as a company in New York.
No, yes, I agree.
Hey.
Maybe shift that shit down. I don't know, Delaware.
So what time is your trial tomorrow?
So that'll be 9:30 Eastern time is when it's scheduled to get started. I'm looking forward to it. We have the cross-examination of another moron, and we'll see if we speedrun demonetization. We'll see how long it takes me to start banging my head against a wall. Folks that have been following, God, there's only so much more I can do with this one, but we're gonna give it a shot, and we will see what tomorrow brings.
Maybe I'll pop over and say hi at some point.
You are more than welcome.
I will pop over at some point, but I will say, guys, nobody wants to miss February 10th. We have
nobody gets to miss February 10th.
The best trial of all time. We have the trial that has the possibility to beat Daryl Brooks.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I have found a trial that is better than the Daryl Brooks drama.
That reminds me, I still have to find his appeal paperwork if it's been posted yet.
Oh, I do love his appeal paperwork. Ineffective assistance of counsel. I was my own counsel. I'm filing my own appeal.
Yeah, I am appealing based on
I'm still gonna get sleep.
I have to find the actual paperwork. I don't think it's been posted on Pacer yet, but I have to find it. But yeah, basically the argument is ineffective assistance of counsel that I am filing because I was my own counsel and I was ineffective. We are in a really interesting box for it on that one. But I have to. No. I don't know if it got. Last I checked, it had not gotten posted to Pacer yet.
I can. What? Look on Pacer now. Is it up there?
I don't want to pay them right now.
No. Okay.
Okay then.
I'm just
for those who want that reference that I gave earlier about the gravity thing. There is a link. You can go watch that later. Wait till after the live stream though, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah.
Absolutely do that.
Yes. Like, comment, subscribe. But yes, February 10th, we are going to have fun. I think I can beat both Mike and what's his name? I think I can win this contest of John's sanity.
I don't know, man. This one's really pushing me.
Oh, you read mine last night.
I did.
You don't think that kidnapping firearms
and
a sovereign citizen when the person you tried to kidnap the children from is a law officer?
Give me a minute on that. I gotta track it down.
The only reason why this one might not is I am a lot more serious and demure when it regards children. So I don't usually lose my crap quite as much on that sort of stuff.
The kids just walked away from him and were like, no, and went back in the house.
I know. I'm just saying. I read the article. This one's going to be an interesting one.
You attempted to kidnap people.
Yeah, that's true.
You attempted
it's hard to kidnap not people.
But you tried to kidnap your own children who were like, nah. I want no part of this. I'm walking away.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Sorry about
that. Hi to whoever's in the background, John.
We don't pretend you did not see that. I am not currently in my studio.
I'm just saying you might want to.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
We can tell you're not in your studio. It looks completely different back there. There's no prison gray wall back there.
Hey, my original studio, unfortunately, my office is still messy. It was blue, so we might get back there at some point when I actually decide to clean.
Okay. Well.
On that note, I think that might be an appropriate time for me to step away from this stream.
Yeah. And then I'll see you in the morning, John.
All right. I'll see you, Loki.
I will probably, if you send me a link, I will wander. If you send me a link, John, I will wander in when I get up.
Sure. I have to, I gotta get in touch with Cole. I haven't heard from him this weekend, so we'll see. And hopefully, maybe we can get a whole panel on so I don't have to lose my mind alone.
Okay.
That'll work.
I'll talk to you later. Go have fun.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we're just gonna pretend we didn't see.
Yes, please. Okay.
Someone's getting in trouble.
I do not. Well, we're trouble anyway, aren't we?
Sure, we'll go with that. Okay, wait, let's go back up. It's not more gun violence, it's more people violence. I don't know that it's more people violence. John's probably still there. He's just occupied. I don't know that it's more people violence. It's just that we can now learn about it faster.
Yes, the internet has done a thing.
Becky, do I think he's going to represent himself? Are we discussing my subset pro se? Yeah, he is. Well, Patty, I only pointed it out because she was shirtless. Opal. Okay, you bail on me until until I find you the court order. Radius sphere of the world population's also doubled. Yeah, but I think the IQ stayed the same. Like the world's cumulative IQ has stayed the same. With the population doubling.
Yes.
So, that. But,
well, the former citizen thing's been that way for a while now. But at the same time, it doesn't make them any less stupid for it.
No, and I mean, like, if we go back to, the overall stream, the problem is you have a girl who is in a position of power. And everybody knows that knows me knows I really could care less about the girl thing. And I think people hiding behind the, I'm a girl, that's a girl kid is just stupid, okay? Like, if somebody's qualified to do a job, I don't care what gender or whatever, okay? Like, none of that matters, right? Ardo, okay. Ardo, this is why I love you.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
No, Ardo's like one on that one. Becky, I know the feeling. That was me before this stream. I took lots and lots of Zofran. But knowledge is power. Those don't want you to have any. Yeah, but what we all have to remember is, you had a young lady in a somewhat position of power. She went to the person, she did go there, and there is proof that she went to people and said, this isn't safe, this is a problem. And they told her tough shit.
Yep. Bad plan.
And, now, there are other things in play, like the possible prop house issues. But you have to remember that there is a Hollywood blacklist, and being a female armorer is not an easy job. I can tell you, being a female firearms creator is not an easy job. If you read some of the messages I get, whew, some people, they just think some people think they are far more intelligent than they actually are. I get to hear that a lot. And, you know, you have to look at the whole thing that, there's a blacklist. What do you do? Who's taking who seriously? And there are too many people playing fast and loose with things. And yes, OSHA came down on this. On the other hand, OSHA could have come down slightly harder. I know why they didn't. And I can tell you exactly why that is.
Do tell. I want to know.
So, well, John's gone, so. Part of the reason OSHA didn't is we don't have a number 2. So, when I say that, what I mean is the way OSHA regulations and fines work is we have to be able to cite them to certain numbers, right? Because there's no specific firearm regulation in OSHA, all they're able to cite you to is general unsafe work practice.
Oh.
And not holding safety meeting. So while they found all these violations, OSHA can only
Safety and Health Association or Administration Agency. That's it.
Would you like to? There's like 4 different things it is. Well, I can give them in a second. I gave them at the beginning, but hold on. When OSHA cites violations, we can only cite them under certain codes and provisions. So if you are doing something that's not under our codes and provisions, then, we are looking to the EPA to cite things. I am looking to, there are other government bodies that can give financial penalty, right? And that's what the problem is. OSHA is the Occupational Health and Safety Administration. That can be either OSHA, the government entity. It could be like what my degree is, which is Occupational Health and Safety Administration. I have a Master's of Science in Occupational Health and Safety Administration, like someone has a Master's of Business Administration. So it is an entity, it is a degree, and it is also an act. It is the Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1972, the OSH Act. So OSHA can be 3 different things. OSHA is the U.S. governing body and rules for occupational health and safety, essentially. On-the-job safety. Things that keep you from doing stupid things at work and not getting yelled at. We are also known to be the petty jackasses.
Because reasons.
Because we are.
That's what you get paid for. To be petty and evil.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm not evil. Why do you think I'm evil?
No, they pay you to be evil at these people. Don't be nice.
You wonder if OSHA was called in my Navy training case. If anything would have been done. I'd have to look at exactly what you're talking about. If any, hold on, let's look at this. Seems that a firearm used as part of an occupation, be it for entertainment or martial purposes, OSHA should have regulations. So the problem is their radiosphere, there is a general regulation. It defers to the industry. Now, here's where radiosphere, what country are you in? Are you in the US? And if you are, what state are you in? Because that will. Okay, so you are in California, so you are subject to Cal OSHA. So when OSHA came about in 72 with the OSHA Act, all the states were told you either have to be at this level and follow our stuff, or you can choose to have your own independent agency, but you must meet or exceed our standards. And California is one of the states that was like, no, we're gonna do it ourselves, and that it is what it's called, Cal OSHA. And they do have stricter standards. They do have a firearm regulation with filming. That's why a lot of people don't film things like this in California. And they only got theirs after the Brandon Lee incident, where Brandon Lee was struck by wadding in a less lethal blank round and killed Bruce Lee's child. So they do. But there's no federal firearm regulation in OSHA because there's different firearms laws in every state. So the states have to have their own regulation, and the states have their own firearms and filming regulations under state workers' comp, under state work laws, under state filming practices, under all of the individual state work regulations. But there can't be a federal OSHA one. But Cal OSHA does have their own, and that's why you will see New Mexico and Arizona and states are ones you will see a lot more of these Western movies being filmed in. So, yeah. Anthony, when you're rubber stamp qualified with a 45, so here's the thing. OSHA has absolutely no jurisdiction over the military.
Yeah. And even if they did, they wouldn't touch that with a cattle prod.
No, they would. There would just be like Article 111. You know. Yeah, it is always referred to as Cal OSHA. It is almost always called Cal OSHA in general. Because Cal OSHA has some ridiculous rules. So, I can cover it one day in a live stream if people are interested. Some of the ridiculous rules in certain states or with OSHA, you're like, what was going on that somebody came up with that? Do OSHA regulations allow you to have horns on any headwear you have to wear? They do not. I actually looked into it because I wanted to put the Maleficent or Loki horns on my hard hat, and I am not allowed to.
There you go.
I tried. There is a regulation against it. I did try, Thomas.
Well, they noped. That's it.
But I can. They did let me wear my... I could get around it. I could wear my Loki horns or my Maleficent horns that I got at Disney World, like the mini ears ones, like the whatever. And then I got to wear them over top of it. Yes, you cannot put a sticker on a hard hat. But I did put them... I used to just wear my headband over top of it.
Let's see. Arto referring to a thing called the butt gun. And if Thomas is still here, he's probably gonna...
Arto, you were here for my video about butt guns. The butt gun was amazing. Radiosphere, not only does California have a lot of ridiculous rules, there's just a lot of ridiculous OSHA rules in general. Some of the rules I was like, what? Like, who did what that caused this? Yes, there are actually regulations relating to hurt feces. Sadly, there are. Yeah.
What?
It's funny you get a sticker for completing the course for your hard hat. Yeah, but you're not allowed to stick it fun. Yeah, I saw the butt gun first on Runkle, and then here. It seems amazing. It is a zip gun. It's all it is. No stilts for construction in California, so they stand on buckets because that's so much safer. Yeah, there's dumber. But yes, there is an OSHA regulation. Hold on. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. I work in OSHA. Hold on, let me find the regulation real quick.
You have to have continuing education for that, don't you?
I teach OSHA. I certify people in OSHA. Wait, hold on.
One wonders what that class costs.
What, me certifying people?
General certification, whether you're doing it or not.
It's about $695 to take.
Take?
Takes about a week.
What does that? I take it that's the 30-hour course.
OSHA 10. They both. Where is this? Hold on. Give me 1 second to find the number for it. $1904.5. So there's essentially an OSHA regulation that you cannot cause somebody emotional distress.
I don't know about that one, Anthony.
So, hey. Makes me wonder. I feel sorry for you. You deal with all the stupidest people all day. I can't have a 2-minute conversation with one. Radiosphere, I just stand there and stare at people. Like, I literally, I just stand there, and I mean, like, you can see in my picture what I look like. I spend a lot of time going, look, think about what you said.
I am so sorry. I mentioned that while Thomas was in the neighborhood.
I hate you.
No, you don't.
Good night, Paul. Paul, my love. Good night. We are. It was somewhat strange. Go back to sleep. It was interesting. We have missed you. Let me know when you are free for another one. You wonder if you can still take the OSHA course online, Anubis. You cannot take OSHA 30 or OSHA 10 online. There was a small period of time you could take OSHA 10 online because of COVID. That is no longer. OSHA is no longer offering that loophole. You can take it with certain instructors via video conference. I can still teach it that way. Nobody wants to have to sit through 40 hours of me telling them all the OSHA stupid. I have an interesting class. You were in the Marine, stupid, get stared at for about 2 seconds. Then the yelling starts. No radiosphere. Having lived on base at 29 Palms, I can tell you the sugar cookie hill you get told to run up and down, or to please turn the rocks over. They are getting sunburned on one side. That was a good one. Or my personal favorite in 29 Palms at the stumps was, hey, I need you to come over here and tell me what's wrong with these Marines. Okay, Becky. Hey, Becky, let me know what you need and go lay down and message me if I can help you with anything. Radiosphere, and it was several Marines that were sitting in a corner tripping balls. And there was a whole lot of people with ups and downs on their arms going, I don't know what's wrong with them. And so, yeah, Radiosphere, I had a discussion with a master guns that day, and with the guns, with the gunny and with the master guns, and with the chief warrant officer and several others. And I had to explain to them that their genius Marines had made themselves tea with the morning glory flowers and seeds they purchased that grow in 29 Palms. And morning glory flowers and seeds produce LSA, which is an analog of LSD. And so they were tripping, and to just put them in a dark room and they would be okay in several hours. So,
and then they had bad conduct discharges. They got the big chicken dinner, I'm betting.
They did not. So the thing is, LSA is actually not technically on the list for the BCD.
Oh, really?
Nope. LSD is.
Yes,
LSA
that one I know.
is not. It's one of those loopholes. They did not get the BCD. They got the bust down on the and the barracks restriction for 30 days.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, I mean, you have to remember, I've lived at Lejeune. I've lived near Paris Island. I've lived near the Stumps. Yeah, I have lived in Mississippi.
My condolences.
Yeah, Mississippi wasn't that bad. That was mainly Navy and Air Force idiots. Sounds like something that would happen. Lots of dummies there. Radiosphere, I mean, like, there is not that much for Marines to do at 29. Having lived there, you see why Marines do what they do. Especially out at, like, the Lego City area. Oh, I know, I went there. Yeah, Radiosphere, I lived there for 3 years. There's a reason why the Dummies 4 books are bestsellers. Yes, Anthony, there are. And there's also many, many reasons why the phrase "stop eating crayons" has come out of my mouth.
Yes, some of them do that.
I don't know if I ever told you, Tuck. I got into a fist fight with an Air Force kid once.
Oh no, I don't. I haven't heard this story. Do tell.
So, I'm going to sanitize some of the names.
Remind me to tell you about Ensign breakfast sometime.
Yep. So Loki was working on an ambulance and was called onto Kiesler's. base, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got called onto Keesler Air Force Base to deal with this lovely airman who injured himself with a motorcycle and had launched himself off said motorcycle and injured himself, and he was right outside the gates of Keesler. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. So we get him up, and he's drunk. Like, I don't know when he stopped drinking, but damn, that boy, he should have been a Marine with his BAC.
Oh dear.
You know, kind
That's
of thing.
Good.
Yeah. So we get him into the ambulance, and the best part is there's a Gulfport police officer, Officer Nicholas Olds. Now, Nicholas does not have a middle name, so his initials are No. And he used to be a Marine Gunny. Gunny No.
Oh dear.
Yes, Gunny No. And I loved Gunny No because I happened to Gunny No had been part of the training command of my other half. So yeah. Whatever. So Gunny No is standing there. We're off the base. And Gunny No is like talking to this kid. And he's just running his mouth. And Nick is standing there and he's like, I'm going to write you a ticket. He's got the Mississippi Code book out and he's going page by page. Gunny No used to be a Paris Island drill instructor. I mean, like, he's literally going through this thing page by page, trying to figure out every ticket he can write this kid.
Oh, yeah.
He's bored by this point. Yeah, good old Gunny No. And, you know, we get to Memorial Hospital in Gulfport because they got to go to Memorial. And I go to take the gentleman out of the ambulance. And I don't know if any of you have ever been in the back of an ambulance, but I will tell you, the paramedic or the EMT or the fireman or whoever that is pulling the stretcher out of the back, especially if you're kind of tall, your feet are where their chests are. Hey, Ben, you missed all our fun. So this genius decided to boot me square in the chest because he thought it was funny.
Oh dear. This will not end well.
Booted me square in the chest that I almost dropped him. So I pulled the stretcher out. We go inside, and Nick was having none of it. We get inside, and he's acting up. He gets put into one of the psych drunk watch rooms. And he gets the brilliant idea to headbutt me in the face. Because why not? We're bored. Apparently. So I had 2 black eyes and, you know, they cut across the bridge of the nose. And then I had to go home looking like that.
Oh,
now,
no.
Before I had to go home looking like that, I had to do one more important thing. And that was call his command. Yeah, we had to call the command. And so I called and I said, hey, I need to talk to the SNCOIC. And he was like, yeah, okay. And I talked to the SNCOIC and I said, hey, I have Airman so-and-so. He did this. He's at Memorial. And he is in this holding area. And he goes, "What's your last name?" And I told him, and he goes, "Would you perhaps be attached to the Marine gunny of the same name?" I would. At the time. At the time, I would. And he was like, "Okay, cool. Tell him we're coming to get him. Hey, Ben, click the link. We'll bring you back on screen. We will discuss some of the fun things." And so, whatever. Gentleman had to then, when he was returned to the base, they got the Air Force got the brilliant idea that they stood him in front of the entire platoon of Marines at Keesler. And they gave him 3 options. He could take the BCD for his behavior. He could take an NJP, but only. The NJP was only allowed if he apologized to the gunny for headbutting his significant other.
Oh.
In front of an entire platoon of Marines.
Yikes.
He took a BCD over that. I'm not sure if I would have, but
I would not have.
What, taken the BCD or
I wouldn't have taken that.
Or
BCD.
apologized.
I'd have apologized.
Oh yeah, no, he didn't. He refused to apologize in front of the platoon of Marines. They made it very clear if he apologized in front of the platoon of the Marines, anything the Marines did was going to be looked the other way. So it is yours. How safe do you feel with a platoon of Marines? If you're an airman and you have headbutted a gunny's spouse in the face.
I still would have apologized.
Yeah, no, he took his BCD and his time in confinement. Because he said he was safer that way. Yeah, I mean, Ben, you're not the boss of me. Yeah, I am. Yeah, Radiosphere, he decided that a gunny's wife was probably the wrong person to headbutt at the time.
Come on, Ben, get your butt in here. Or are you scared of a squirrel?
No, Ben has other things going on. It's okay.
Yeah.
Give them a job and you are also the boss. Yeah, I mean, Ben's got... Teenagers are no fun. He'd have been destroyed. Radiosphere, I always loved the ones at, like, boot camp. I loved the ones at the island. Where's the link? I'll send it to you again. Anthony, to falling up a few flights of stairs on your ship in the Navy. Anthony, what were you on in the Navy? I have to go to Instagram. I guess will be the easiest way.
Yeah, remind me to tell you the story about that about the time that happened in the barracks while I was at A school.
Yeah, well,
no, really.
Since 706, the Albuquerque. Yeah, the Albuquerque had lots of interesting things that happened on it. Ah, the boat nap. I just sent it to your Instagram, Ben. Vulcan Magic is here!
Yay,
I have missed you! Big hugs. I have missed Vulcan Magic. There are some that I've missed some of my regulars. You don't understand. Anthony, if you ever want to watch really, really funny, Squirrel, did I tell you what happened? Oh, you're okay. You're okay, Will. I'll never apologize. Squirrel, did I get to tell you about the issue with my dad?
Mm-mm. Are you the one that kept you out of the military?
Well, yeah, but not why I get kept out of the military, but like what my dad did to get somebody in a whole lot of trouble.
Oh, I think I did hear that one. We could go to that. We could go it again. Let's do that.
Yeah,
That was hilarious.
No, we'll go with this. We have enough military vets here, especially on the Navy ones. Anthony Burke, you'll like this. So my father was out on the he got called out at night, late at night, to go out to a submarine because it was running hot and was not allowed back in harbor, but it was running on its diesel. It could not. Its reactor was not coming online. So the reactor would not come online. It had hot fish. It could not go back into harbor. And so in the middle of the night, they had to fly my father out on a helicopter, which was very expensive. And because my dad was not in the military, worked for Westinghouse. And so my dad goes and he's fixing things, and he said to the XO, "Hey, I need to go use your secure line. I need to make a phone call. I need to get a couple parts so I can put the reactor online." And my father was directed to go to the crew mess where the phone was. My dad's like, I need the secure line. Was then repeatedly told he could just go to the crew mess. He was not special.
Really?
Which, okay, cool, whatever. So, yeah, Anthony, there wasn't just the ones that sink. Don't worry about it. So my dad gets on it, and he called Admiral Rickover at home on like a Saturday night.
Oh dear.
At like midnight, and woke him up.
Oh, that's even worse.
And he was like, "Hey, so I need this part, and they don't have this part." And he's like, "Why are you calling me on like a regular phone?" Well, the XO and the CO said that I could use the crew mess phone and wouldn't let me use theirs. Okay, cool. I'll handle it. Tell the wife hi. My dad hung up, and that ship got a new command in the morning. They got a real unhappy phone call. Yeah, oops. Anthony, my father put the Enterprise and the majority of the current ships into service. My father is the nuclear engineer that designed the water-cooled nuclear reactors that run all of the U.S. Navy's stuff. So he was very good friends with Rickover and was one of the fellow fathers of the modern nuclear Navy. And if you go to nuke school, your textbook is written by my dad.
I saw that textbook.
Yeah, once. I know you did.
I wasn't to nuke. They wanted me to do that, and I'm like, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, I know, but you Googled the book the one day and found my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I tried to go to the Naval Academy, and when I went to my final board, they read my name off, and somebody stood up in the back and was like, "Hey, is your dad so-and-so?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "Return her home. Do not look at her father. Do not talk to her father. You return her home before he finds out she is here." he will hurt somebody. And I was like, no, my dad. I was like, no, my dad knows I'm here. And they were like, well, then he knows you can't be in the Navy because you're a security risk.
Oh.
I'm like, I am not. And he was like, yes, you are. And when I get home and I was like, Dad, did you know I couldn't go into the Naval Academy? He was like, yeah. So then why did you let me go through all of that? He was like, yeah, there was no point in telling you. You weren't going to listen anyways.
Yeah.
You don't listen to anything else I say. Thanks, Dad.
Love you too.
Yeah, we'll call it. It was fascinating. It was one of those, fun, like, oh, what does your dad do? Yeah. No, my dad's a nuclear engineer. I am the stupid one. But it also explains how I've learned to shoot and what I shoot. Because a whole bunch of those old hardcore snipers that were friends with my dad were my original shooting instructors. But yes, my dad wrote the textbook. And I asked why. I'm like, people do realize I'm stupid compared to you, right? My brother wasn't allowed to go in. A, he's a security risk, and B, he's too tall. He wanted to go into the Air Force. But at 6'7", you can't fly anything. Ben, I sent you the thing. Did you click it? I don't think Ben clicked it. Ben's in trouble with me.
I don't think Ben clicked it because, well, he would have popped up here.
Yeah, he'll probably get it. Crazy life. Some may say charmed. I have not had a charmed life. I wish. I've just had like a bizarre. I just had a bizarre life. As much as my father tried to keep me away from military men and military people,
it didn't work.
I didn't want to listen. I don't listen well. Radiosphere, are you fairly new to my channel? Have you been in here?
I haven't seen you.
I know. If a Submariner, no, I mean, Sod, yeah, they would. Although I can tell you, subs or boats, I can tell you, you're allowed to be the FNG. We like FNGs here. And Sod, they also probably, the Submariners would tell you that they would rather not be there's only two kinds of ships and targets.
Submarine,
and they don't like being targets. Yep, and targets, and they don't want to be a target. Well, Radiosphere, we are happy to have you here. Introduce yourself. Join the absolute insanity that is this family. Let's see. How bad do I look today? Oh no. No, Stephanie looks sad. Just start the camera for a minute.
Looked okay to me, but they.
Okay, let's see. We'll go people for a little bit. There, people-y me for a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, operations specialists, those people were the bane of the existence of the folks that were down in radar. My problem was radiomen.
Yeoman.
Huh?
The yeoman.
No. The radioman is a different critter.
Oh.
It's a yeoman's a secretary. But the radiomen, they seem to like to not operate the gear correctly. Operations specialist.
Here's our Stephanie with no makeup on in bed, because I look like I do in my picture, which drives me crazy. Everyone's like, you probably don't look like your picture. Yeah, I do. I'm just not wearing makeup. It's me in bed.
Anyway, the one gripe I got about operations specialists from the ETs that worked radar on the Lincoln was they would go in, they would we get their screen all nice and calibrated correctly according to the PMS, and then they go through and change it back so it looks right to them. was like, wait a minute.
I would like to point out that the most accurate military submarine movie, Naval Down Periscope.
That's what I heard.
It's true.
That's all right. That is, see, when they wanted me to go submarine too. And I went, I don't think that's a good idea.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
Well, it was actually the story here is actually kind of funny. I was taken to. They have a tank that they use. It has an elevator down the middle. Okay, and it's about 20 feet on a side.
Yeah.
The elevator goes through the middle. So what they do is they put you and an examiner and some other folks in the elevator. They send you down to the bottom. What they don't tell you is that they equalize the pressure while they're doing that. So you get to the bottom, and the doors open, and you're faced with a literal wall of water. And I went completely into the back of the elevator. So, no fucking way.
And then you gotta blow and get to the top.
You gotta step out, and then you gotta get
the emergency blow. Yep.
I went, no, we're not gonna do that. I hid behind the Master Chief. I was not going there. No.
Yeah, save the buttercup. No. Yeah, I gotta say, Down Periscope, best submarine movie and most accurate. I can tell you. Oh my god, yeah, most accurate. And the person I was wed to at the time was Stepanek. I picked the Stepanek. We did save the buttercup 4 times. I died all 4 times. We had an excellent mariner in the lab once. He used to work on the boomers. Couldn't talk about a lot of stuff. Yeah, my dad still can't, but there's some stuff my dad will talk about, like the string. Hey, Syndicate. He once had to... My dad used to... Yeah, radio.
Honestly,
I mean,
if you wind up in a position where there's a hole in the hull,
you're dead before you know it.
You're not gonna survive long enough to drown. High pressure water coming into your cozy space will cut you in fucking half. And I heard those stories too before I went down in that elevator. No.
That's not even like the worst of it. My dad had to explain. He was taking one of the newer kids down, like one of his junior people. And he said to him, he's like, the kid was like, why is nothing up against the walls? And my dad was like, it will be when we're at test depth. but it's like 1.5 feet away from the wall.
Trust me.
It won't be when we're at test depth. And he was like, well, what's with this string? And my dad was like, yeah, the middle of that string's going to touch the floor when we're at test depth. But, like, it's, like, super tight and barely, like, sticking onto the wall. Yeah. That's how much of it is going to crush while we are standing in here. And when they got down to test depth in the middle of that rope, the middle of that string that was tight, touched the bottom. Thomas, how tall are you? My dad's 6'5".
There's a reason they prefer that the submarine crews all be under 6 feet.
Yeah, my dad's 6'5". My dad used to just like walk bent over. He had like a permanent bruise.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean at depth. Like my dad doesn't talk about much other than like how much the thing's compressed, the string touching the ground, or like, incidental stupid. He doesn't talk about like anything important. The only important. Yeah, I mean, most people that are in the military.
I can't talk about a lot of things. The horrifying number of things I can't talk about.
Yeah, I mean that's all of us with our jobs. But no, ironically, one of the things that nobody's allowed to talk about, I have framed on my wall in my office.
Yeah, that would be why, Thomas.
Yeah, my dad's 6'5". He spent most of his time on the submarine, just even on the aircraft carriers.
The aircraft carriers, you get a bit more space. Not a lot, but a bit.
Yeah, but 6'5" isn't helping. My brother's 6'9" ass, I want to be a pilot. And we lost Ben again.
Anybody over 6'2", 6'3" is not getting in a cockpit.
Yeah, my brother wanted to be a fighter pilot.
Not a fighter cockpit, anyway.
Yeah. Ah! Why are there people ringing? You chose the core. I don't know if I would. No, I haven't. I have to look
I'll take a pass on the core.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
Just
fear of the ocean. Okay. So you chose fear of the sea or sea travel. So you chose the Marine Corps. I don't know if that was.
Yeah, I'd have gone. I'd have probably gone. I would probably have gone Army. Oh, yeah, that's no fun, Sod.
Sod, we can go play like in the lab and be science nerds together.
Yeah.
Sod, I actually have an interesting email to. Yeah, it is the Marine Taxi Service.
But only certain parts of it.
I think Jay used to have a T-shirt that said "My ass rides on Navy equipment." The Marine shirt.
My ass rides in Navy equipment, Sergeant. U.S. Marines.
Yeah, the guns. Anthony, I don't know because he was both Navy and Marine Corps. He went from the
that actually makes things that would make things a little different. No, the average Marine, Anthony's correct. The average Marine will be pissed off if you remind them that they work for the Department of Navy.
No, usually they just tell you they're the men's department. Usually they'll just go, "Yep, the men's department."
I never got that one.
Yeah, see, Radiosphere, the Department of the Navy, the men's department. Mm-hmm.
See, I never see. When I was in, they just they got pissed off when you told them that.
Yeah, the men's department. No.
Yes, you are still a dog. Please stop.
Yeah, I mean, I do have to say, watching people try to figure out why Marine Guns has an Arctic service medal is always fun. Yeah, Radio, it is an inside joke that I run the men's department. I always loved it. I went Marine Corps birthday ball, just watching people go, "What is that medal and ribbon? Arctic service." blue nose, the blue nose, the shellback, the. How do you get that as a Marine? You work hard at it.
Yeah. Especially the Arctic medal.
Mm-hmm.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, it says Arctic service. Yeah, you do get hazed when you get your shellback and your blue nose. And if anybody that knows what goes on during those, in the Navy, the blue nose.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That was disturbing in every imaginable way. The shellback ceremony.
Yep.
I didn't catch the blue nose, just the shellback ceremony, and that was more than enough for me. Thanks. That's okay. I have it on authority that the initiation for chief is even worse.
I would be more concerned about getting your guns.
Yeah, well, I was never a Marine. I had to lead Marines, but I was never a Marine.
Really Sphere, did you ever cross the equator? That would be the shellback.
Yep.
Mean John. That's the shellback. Blue nose is the Arctic.
Yeah, I never got that far north.
What, for blue nose or for shellback?
For blue nose. I went out on a Westpac before shit happened. And you know exactly what shit I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean.
And stay clear of if you're going to Australia, stay clear of the trees. The drop bears are mean.
Yeah.
No, the Air Force never does care. Of course, the Air Force is billeted in 5-star hotels while the rest of us grunts have to make do 4 people to a 2-man pup tent.
Hey, if you're stationed on a Marine Corps base as the Navy, you get hazard pay.
That's what I heard.
It's true.
The
ones that were stationed at 29 Palms. They got special duty pay.
Nice.
The Air Force doesn't care. Yeah, Peterson, they don't.
And yeah, puddle pirates are an entirely different thing. Although now they're part of the Department of Homeland Security as opposed to transportation. So that may have changed in the last in the last 20 years or so.
Yeah, the puddle pirates.
Well, the puddle pirates all trained with us. Well, trained with the Navy people. So that was fun. And somehow or another, they managed to discover the idea that they were absolutely 110% superior to any Navy person. I don't know where they got that delusion.
Y'all are deluded. Oh, things are better than Marines. They're just the dumb ones.
Yeah, well, I've seen
the
perfectly
Space Force, yes.
The thing is, Space Force is actually not very big. It's not. It can't be. Although they are now doing more recruiting.
Yeah, I always joke that I wanted to go join the Space Force or something. My dad was like, no. The Air Force hazing involves picking the correct color wine with your meal without a wine steward.
I know, right? Actually, D. Peterson, I walked away from the military day before that happened, which is unfortunate because, well, yeah, that was a thing.
I like to point out that, the CNN clearance, I just want one. Oh, we got him.
Yes. Hello. I know.
Hello, Ben.
Yeah. You missed our $167,000 discussion of the OSHA violation.
$167,000 OSHA violation?
Oh, it was 137.
There are 130. No, I got it right here. Hold on. The OSHA violation for rust.
Oh yeah, how much were they fined?
Hold on. Pull it. Let me scroll down. I have the citation.
$136,783 is what's coming to my brain.
136,793.
Oh shit! I remember that number. Oh wow. Okay. Cool.
Wow.
But we were having. Yeah, you missed that. You missed
Does
the
Alec
discussion.
Baldwin have to say that? Pay that? Who pays that? If he's a producer?
Production, yeah.
The production company has to pay it.
Here was my point to all of it that you missed because you weren't part of this discussion at that point. I can tell you why my man pled. You want to know why?
Sure. Who are we talking about? Who pled?
The one dude that pled.
David Hall.
Oh, okay. Yes.
I tell you exactly why.
Why?
Because, ready? Hold on, wait, let me stop number 3, I think.
He was the safety supervisor for the set.
Yep. Here we go.
He's also the one that picked up the gun from the cart.
During the discussion, safety practices, he was the safety officer. The one that pled was the overriding safety. Oh, here we go.
What did he plead to?
Bullshit.
Yeah, he pled misdemeanor mishandling of a firearm.
Yeah, because here's where also on the management team was Dave Halls, the first assistant director, safety coordinator, set manager, and responsible for all workplace safety. So that's why my man pled out that fast.
Is he doing time or is he getting probation or what?
Nothing.
He got a ticket.
Misdemeanor. He got a ticket.
Wow.
He had to pay a fine. Period. That's it. Hold on.
Yeah, Helena.
And he has to testify.
He's gonna have to testify. So, yeah. Yes. Well, have fun with John in the morning, Anthony. But yeah, OSHA came down on them and was like, "Y'all suck."
Well, yeah, I'd say they probably qualify for OSHA violations when someone's getting shot and killed.
Technically, one. Yeah, Anthony, I will. I'll pop over for a little bit tomorrow. Yeah, the problem, and I explained this, is the problem is there's no actual OSHA firearm regulation. They got nailed on unsafe work practices.
Because it was unsafe.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it comes
but
down
there's got to be OSHA. I mean, there's no OSHA regulations for firearms on a...
Because it is a state specific. So like Cal OSHA, who does their own, California has their own Cal OSHA.
Right.
They have one. New Mexico follows federal OSHA.
Which does not.
But because firearms laws are state specific, the rules have to be state specific. So OSHA defers to state rule. So they got them for, like unsafe work environment, not holding safety briefs every day, not following industry standard, but that's about all they could nail them on. Now, if it happened in California or certain other states, they have very specific firearm-related OSHA rules. But there's a lot more to it. But you are grumpy, I can tell. Is your teenager still arguing with you?
No, he's not. He's not, fortunately. For him?
For him.
Yes.
I mean, my small person tried to argue with me the other day.
Hey, Ben, how old is he?
He's 13, almost 14.
Ooh. What are the chances he's actually going to live to 14 at this rate?
Well, we'll see. We've set a plan in motion, so we'll see how well he sticks to the plan.
Yeah. I got one that turned 14 in April, and I don't think he's going to live that long. Not at the rate he's going.
Well, make a plan then. I don't know. We'll see.
You have not met my
plan. The plan was abandoned inside of 3 hours.
See, here's the thing. When you go with my father was like the king of those plans. Because I was real good at, seeing how much trouble I could get in how fast. And like the kind of trouble that just left everybody going, you did what? Wait, why? And how? Hey, I got in trouble in first grade for holding an entire school hostage, supposedly.
You don't remember this?
Supposedly? Seems like something you would remember.
So, yeah. No, I mean, like, I wasn't totally doing it. They were just a little bit sensitive, is what we'll say.
Okay. That's what we're going to say.
Essentially, I didn't feel like watching a movie and had been sitting on the floor in the library, and my dad always told me, like, if anybody grabs you, like, you don't go, like, no one touches you, like, hands off, like, you get up and walk, but nobody can physically grab you. And so when the lady tried to physically grab me, I wrapped my arms and legs around the table leg, and I said, I'm not going anywhere. And then she tried to convince maintenance to get the table leg off, and they were like, no. So then they called my dad, and they told my dad I was holding a whole room full of adults and children hostage because I wouldn't go anywhere.
That sounds like a major overcharge to me.
Yeah, it pretty much was. My dad showed up and was like, get up, and I was like, okay. I just wasn't willing to let someone physically drag me out of someplace. And, I called their bluff. Meh. I was that kid that was like, okay. No say like fuck around and find out. I was like, okay, cool, let's go. I will call your bluff on that.
You fucked around, you found out.
Yeah, generally I didn't get in trouble though.
Night, Patty.
Love you. I'll talk to you tomorrow, Patty. I was issued my trust, my M16. I'm what? I'm not an M16 woman. They're not bad, but so how is life in Las Vegas with your celebrity status clients? Bad.
Well, I really only have one infamous. Well, he's not even my client. He's just.
Well, I mean, He did fire you and then try to get you reappointed to his case accidentally.
Oh yeah,
which is still the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Was that the?
I'm not even here.
Was that the story from the John live stream yesterday? No.
Yes.
Yes, I went just to watch his hearing, and well, I wasn't even going to go down there, and then I had to go pick up Discovery, and so I was like, "Oh, I'll be down there anyway."
Morbid curiosity.
Yes,
that's the best
I
for
will
you.
Go. Exactly. So I'll live tweet it, and so I did, and I was there live tweeting, and then these guys keep mentioning me. It's like they can't stop. Don't talk about me. Keep my name out your mouth. Yeah. Anyway, so the judge is like, they keep mentioning you. I see you're here.
Okay.
Like, yeah. Would you be willing? I was like, no, Judge. Don't even think about appointing me back on Kim Blandino.
No.
So.
But Kim wanted you back.
No.
He did. He said he wanted you back.
No.
Oh, by the way, Ben.
Yes.
You missed one of the most amusing accidental outings that happened earlier tonight. And I feel slightly bad for doing it.
What happened? Who did you
Praco?
out?
Praco, would you care to tell him what I outed?
Nope. It's all you. He asked you the question. It's your turn.
So, John was on for a little bit.
Okay.
So was the young lady that was not wearing a shirt.
See, when I saw her, she was wearing a shirt.
She had a sports bra on when you saw her. She was putting her shirt on.
What was happening?
No, I saw. She was actually in a. She was actually in kind of a frilly sort of blousey thing, and then you saw her when not. I didn't see her that way. I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't looking at the screen.
On the side of the screen, John wasn't paying attention, and he had a lady friend there, and she was changing shirts, and didn't realize she was in camera view. And I was like, Ben, I was like, John, and he was like, what? I'm like, you may want to tell someone they're on camera. And then he moved
the camera, which was better.
Oh, we'll have to get the replay then. All right.
I laughed.
There are reasons to leave the camera off. But he wasn't in his studio. I took that as an implication that he was actually at her house, not his.
Yeah, and I think I know who it is too.
Yeah, that would be my thought. But that would not be good if we're talking about the same person.
Yeah, I contemplated calling her name to see if she turned towards the camera, but
Yeah, let's not do
that. It was like, John, gotta make sure she's not. You are one of Mike's children. Did Mike not teach you about things that are on and off camera? Ben, you are a Mike person. You should know this. Isn't that like one of Mike's cardinal rules?
Be careful what you have on the camera.
If it's not, it certainly should be.
Yes.
Ben's like, what?
It certainly should be.
When to turn the camera off, or make sure someone knows where the line is. What now? Yeah, you missed all the fun. What do you have this? When's your trial? When's your big trial coming up?
Well, we'll see if I can get it. I've got several. I just got one resolved Friday, but I've got two that are scheduled for the first week of February. So one of them's, I don't know. Hopefully I'll get them both resolved or continued or something. I don't know. I've got one, it's end of March, starting April, and all sorts of other ones sprinkled in between. So
yeah, I thought you just had the two in February that were.
No, got a couple of people are they're just ridiculous. They don't think that the victims are going to show up, and that's just never a good winning strategy because they show up, and it's just like,
oh,
so
look,
sometimes you just kind of want to do
now
it
what?
because you're gonna, it's like, no, they're not going to show up. They're not going to show up. I'm like, they are going to show up. That they have resources and investigators and all these people that will be there to find them, and so it's just it's not it's never a winning strategy.
Well, even if you don't think they're going to show up, always assume that they will, if only to like have a way to cover your butt if they do.
Well, yeah, I mean it's be ready, but it's they're saying, look, don't worry about it. I'm not going to take a deal, even though guilty, and there's overwhelming evidence against me. Don't worry about it because the victim's not going to show up. And it's like that doesn't work.
See, here would be my question, and like, I'm sure you, in theory, can't. I mean, I don't know if you could technically, like, I don't even know that. Whatever. My theory on that would be like, well, the only way you would know that they're not showing up is if you made them not show up, and if that's true, I don't think I want to know that as your attorney.
No.
Or am I wrong?
So no, it's usually like no, like so and so is my he's my homie. He's not gonna do it. He's not gonna testify. Whatever. Or my girl, she's not gonna be there. She's not gonna testify. She's not gonna. So usually the only time I believe it is when I have my investigator and my investigator goes out and says, yes, I've gone through all the addresses, phone numbers, and the victim is not. The victim's a crackhead. I had one that we went in. Yeah, it was back in July where we did that. Where my investigator was like, oh my gosh, it was terrible. The victim was like some crackhead from the neighborhood, and she, my guy let her come in, take a shower, and I'm sure she was paying for it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then she called the cops and kicked him out, and he's like, this is my own house, and he got charged with whatever, got arrested. The apartment kicked her out because they knew who she was, so they got her out of there. But anyway, so we couldn't find her. All the known addresses and phone numbers for her were dead ends, so I was confident in that because my investigator couldn't find her. Same with I had another case similar about a year ago, and it was the same thing where the victim had an address, and so the investigator went there, and the person's like, oh, that's my brother. I don't know where he is. I haven't seen him in months. He's gone. He's he's on drugs. He's on the street. So he went to California, I think, and I don't even know if he's back or where he's at. So we're like, okay. So a couple of those, right? If my investigator says, yeah, I can't find them, and I'm like, okay, the DA's investigator probably, won't be able to find them. And so we can do the brinksmanship of taking it to edge of trial and do that. But when the defendants are like, don't worry about it. They're not going to show up. That's when I worry because they always show up.
Well, yeah, I'd worry that they're either going to show up or my client killed them. I'd be like, what did you do that they're not going to show up?
Yeah.
That's my personal question there.
I suppose it's a little late at this point to try and get them a deal.
Oh, no, you get a deal right up until the right up to the end.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but would Durpo take it? That's the question.
Well, no. I mean, some of these guys are such...
They're all a little
they're
bit
so arrogant that and they just... I don't know.
No jury in the world will convict me. All right, dude. You keep thinking that.
That would be everybody's going to convict you. That's my usual, like, when you say that. But okay, well, we've been here for too long, so I'm going to say goodnight to all of you loves. We will have some interesting Lair stuff coming up in the next few days, and I might hop on to John's stream later, and we will see what's happening. But thank you for all of the OSHA and Rust Gun Stupid Talks. We can break down more if you have more questions. I'll talk to you guys later.
Night night.